Chapter 428. I should be the one thanking President Ming for giving them 4 hours. Venerable Han, Mei said coldly. All the creation realm experts in Hanmei Hall will come to help. Thank you very much. I'm afraid this beast tide is level 10. I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on for 4 hours. Venerable Han Mei, I'll open the bounded domain for you. Your disciple's position. I know. That's good. Meng Yicheng said and directly gave the order to open the bounded domain. Chen Hao didn't know that when he was still digging and Chen Shui and the others were recovering, Venerable Han Mei had quietly arrived at their location. The terrifying beast tide didn't even have time to sense her existence before she directly integrated into the protective bounded domain condensed by Chen Hao. In a moment, she entered the deep hole dug by Chen Hao. Moreover, Chen Hao clearly blocked the hole, but there was no fluctuation. This was the 5 elements escape technique that only Earth's celestial stage experts could successfully cultivate. It allowed the body to integrate with all things and pass through mountains and seas. Comet crystal, black sand crystal, perish red crystal. This is what he and little Shui got from the 9 of the Frost Pond. When Chen Hao stopped digging and took out the stones he got from the origin space to start setting up the bounded domain, he didn't realize that his every move was under the watch of Venerable Han Mei. Chen Hao and Chen Shui didn't hide the fact that they entered the 9 Nether Frost Pond from Venerable Han Mei. The reason was very simple. When they came out of the 9 Nether Frost Pond, their every move was under the surveillance of Venerable Han Mei. In their conversation, they naturally mentioned the 9 Nether Frost Pond. Venerable Han Mei was extremely shocked at that time, but she knew the seriousness of the matter. Therefore, she didn't tell anyone and wouldn't tell anyone. What kind of bounded domain is this? After seeing Chen Hao quickly use the crystal to set up a bounded domain that even she felt was mysterious, Venerable Han Mei was even more surprised. What kind of secret is hidden in this kid's body? I know his experience like the back of my hand. Where did he learn this bounded domain that even I have never seen before? If I set it up, the power will definitely increase by 10 times. Unfortunately, I can't take out such precious crystal. These 2 arrogant fellows have actually been tamed by this brat to become docile and obedient. How long had it been? Unbelievable. After 3 hours, Chen Shui and the rest recovered a little and met up with Chen Hao. When immortal Venerable Han Mei saw Jiang Hai and Huang Wenchu's respectful attitude towards Chen Hao, she was even more surprised. She really couldn't understand how these 2 fellows, who didn't fear her, the Hall Master, who had suddenly returned, could become so obedient in front of Chen Hao in just 2 short days. She was very clear why the 2 of them chased after Chen Shui. The reason why she agreed was to give Chen Hao some pressure and color. At the same time, she also wanted to let Chen Hao realize how popular Chen Shui was. However, the current situation was simply too unexpected. Where was the color? It was as if he had become Chen Hao's most loyal supporter. She couldn't figure it out. Of course, if he had seen what everyone had gone through in the past half a day, he would have figured it out. Bang. Boom. Finally, when there was only a quarter of an hour left before the 4-hour time limit mentioned by Meng Yicheng, the protective seal exploded under the increasingly powerful attacks of the monsters. Chen Hao also accurately activated the major phaseless heaven sealing formation before the protective seal shattered. I want to see how long they can last. This beast tide is definitely a level 10 beast tide, and it's very likely that it will continue to grow. This is also a kind of training for them. Immortal Venerable Han Mei quietly hid beside Chen Hao, Chen Shui, and the others, not in a hurry to make a move. When Immortal Venerable Han Mei saw everyone's injuries, she knew that they must have experienced a very fierce battle. However, she didn't know how everyone's performance was. However, from Meng Yicheng's actions and words, she could feel that the performance of Chen Hao and the others must have attracted Meng Yicheng's attention. Otherwise, Meng Yicheng wouldn't have spent half of his true essence to condense the formation for Chen Hao and the others. Moreover, there must be a lot of secrets, but she didn't have the time to ask. The moment the protective seal broke, there was a huge vibration. Even though everyone was deep underground, they felt it very intense. One by one, they woke up from their cultivation state and ran out of their independent caves. No, the strength of this beast tide is probably beyond our imagination. It won't be easy for us to get through it safely. Everyone, cheer up and try your best to recover. The more dangerous it is, the calmer you have to be. What's the use of panicking? Try your best to recover. The longer we persist, the greater our chances of survival. Don't waste time. Chun Hao said with a solemn expression. His powerful soul perception had clearly sensed that the monsters outside would not give up on them. These monsters all had human intelligence. At this moment, although the major phaseless heaven-sealing formation had blocked their aura, the monsters obviously knew that they were inside. Moreover, the moment the protective seal broke, they began to violently attack the cave he dug, and they were destroying it at an astonishing speed. Fortunately, after a few minutes, as the lava became harder and harder, the speed of destruction slowed down. Chun Hao heaved a sigh of relief. However, rumble, half-step human immortal monsters. After a few minutes, Chun Hao's hair stood on end. An extremely terrifying aura, like a sharp sword, began to penetrate through the air. The speed of destruction increased by several times. Roar, roar, roar. Damn it! Hundreds of monster commanders, other than the ones that besieged us just now. There are even half-step human immortals. Chun Hao's expression became extremely ugly. He originally thought that with such powerful rocks in the formation, they should be able to hold on for a long time until the experts came to rescue them. No matter what, he did not expect to become a turtle in a jar so soon. This was even more frustrating than before, because all of them did not even have the right to fight. What kind of concept was a half-step human immortal monster? Once the formation was broken, they would be instantly bombarded into pieces and basically have no power to fight back. This was the suppression of absolute power. Half-step human immortals actually came? Is this still a level 10 beast tide? Venerable Han, Mei was also surprised. At this moment, she, who was hiding near Chun Hao, frowned. Obviously, the arrival of half-step human immortal monsters was beyond her expectations. One had to know that the outbreak of a beast tide usually started from weak to strong. Even if it was a level 10 beast tide, it had only been 4 hours since it started. How could half-step human immortal monsters come so quickly? I'm afraid this beast tide is not simple. Venerable Han Mei knew that for Chun Hao and the others, this could no longer be used as a training ground. Roar, 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 roar. The violent shaking was as if the earth was about to collapse. Huyan Albua and the others could not force themselves to enter the recovery state. Their bodies were bounced up by the terrifying shaking, and one by one, they withdrew from their cultivation in horror. Boss, how can he be so strong? Everything has an accident. Half-step human immortal monsters. It seems like this accident is really going to kill us. However, there's another way. If we don't succeed, all of us will die. If we succeed, other than me and Xiao Shui, all of you will have to cultivate again for at least a few years. Are you willing to do it? Venerable Han Mei had already decided to show herself, but she did not expect Chun Hao to suddenly say such a thing. Half-step human immortal. Isn't that a death sentence? Boss, tell us. Anyway, we have already died once. If we succeed, it will be a good thing. Yes. Boss, tell us. No matter what, we will do as you say. There is not much time, so I will make it short. I have a magical treasure that can absorb your primordial spirit, and it can completely conceal the aura of your primordial spirit. As long as you give up your physical body and let your primordial spirit leave your body, you will be able to escape the detection of the monsters. There is no way to survive in the beast tide with your physical body. The only way is to give up your physical body. As for me and Xiao Shui, we have the Heart Sutra that can merge with all things in the world. Taking advantage of the cover of the major phaseless heaven-sealing formation, Xiao Shui and I only need to dig a hole in the distance. Maybe we will have a chance to escape, but the chance is not big. Boss, for us, you, and sister-in-law. Hearing Chun Hao's words, everyone was shocked, but at the same time, a trace of gratitude flashed in their eyes. Obviously, Chun Hao and Chun Shiruo wanted to escape on their own. If they were left behind, the chances of escaping would be higher. However, Chun Hao and Chun Shui did not do so. Moreover, even if they gave up their physical bodies, they still needed to discuss it with them. Since I brought all of you out, we will live and die together. We don't have much time, at most 15 minutes, and the monsters will be here. All of you need to make a decision immediately. Boss, you and sister-in-law can escape. There is no point in leaving your primordial spirit behind and seizing your soul to be reborn. After 18 years, we will still be able to reach our current level. Moreover, we have the blood sacrifice oath, so we will definitely be able to follow you again. I, Huyan Alba, will stay. Second brother is right. If I stay, won't I just die? Boss, don't worry about us. If you and sister-in-law can escape, when we are reincarnated, we will receive special treatment from you. Ha ha, that's even better. The first king said, all of you shut up. I will give all of you two choices. Either we wait for death together, or you give up your physical bodies and try it with me. Just as the others were about to speak, Chun Hao said coldly, there are still 14 minutes left. Any later, and it will be too late. Boss slap. Just as Huyan Alba was about to speak, Chun Hao gave him a slap without any warning. He blocked his mouth and said domineeringly, say your decision. If you do it, then do it immediately. If you don't, then we will all die here. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 429. Of course, Chun Hao knew why everyone chose to stay. It was nothing more than sacrificing them to create more opportunities for him and Chun Shui to escape. The wisdom of monsters was no less than that of humans. If they didn't see a living person, how could they not be suspicious? If Chun Hao and Chun Shui escaped, and they stayed behind, dismembered and destroyed, the situation would be completely different. But how could Chun Hao do such a thing? A real man has to do and not do. That was not Chun Hao's character. The crowd exchanged glances with one another and clenched their teeth. In the end, they still nodded toward Chun Hao's domineering attitude. But just as everyone was about to condense their essence, chi, and spirit towards their primordial spirit and give up their physical bodies, a gentle energy directly wrapped everyone. All right, come with me. A cold but slightly gentle voice sounded. Mother! Chun Shui suddenly opened her eyes wide. Looking at the figure that appeared silently in front of everyone, she was full of surprise, and excitement. Death, who was willing to die. Being able to see through life and death did not mean that one was willing to die. A bad life was better than a good death. What's more, whether it was Chun Shui or Chun Hao or everyone present, they were very young and had many unfulfilled wishes, many things to do, many things that they hoped to do, but did not do. Palace Master. Greetings, Palace Master. Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxiu also looked at the person in surprise and bowed. Cough, cough. Chun Hao's eyes widened as his mind raced. Almost instantly, he was certain that the nameless old man had entered before he activated the formation. Otherwise, there was no way he would not have sensed him. This array was connected to his and old god's mind. Even with the nameless old man's cultivation, it was absolutely impossible for him to silently pass through the array and appear in front of them. Greetings, Mother. When Han Mei Immortal Venerable looked at Chun Hao, he didn't know how to address her, but after a slight hesitation, he simply followed Chun Shui and called her mother. Han Mei Immortal Venerable was shocked and didn't say anything for a long time. Chun Shui also had an awkward expression on her face. Even if she usually addressed her as master, this time, it was completely because it was too sudden, too pleasantly surprised, too unexpected that she couldn't help but call out mother. Unexpectedly, Chun Hao, who had been arrogant, domineering, and righteous just a moment ago, had become so thick-skinned in an instant. One must know that Han Mei Immortal Venerable did not officially announce a relationship with Chun Shui. Even Jiang Hai, Huang Wenxiu, and the others could only guess Chun Shui's background. This form of address is too early. Han Mei Venerable held back for a long time and finally said such a sentence. Well, since I'm going to call you that sooner or later, I might as well change it now. No. Without my permission, you called me Immortal Venerable Han Mei. Although Venerable Han Mei already knew Chun Hao very well, she didn't expect this fella to be so casual in front of her. How could he call her mother now? If she allowed it, this brat would be too complacent. This was the daughter she had carried for more than 100 years. How could it be so easy? Let's go. If we delay any longer, these beasts will attack us. Mother, wait. You still dare to call me that? I won't call you that in front of others. Now that we're all on the same side, it's too estranged for me to call you Immortal Venerable Han Mei. Mother, since you're here, can you help me a little more? Help me a little more? What do you want to do? I keep feeling that there's something I want below. It's just that my ability can only dig to this depth. I can't dig any deeper. So, these are just high-grade fire tribute ores. Although they're good materials for refining, they're everywhere in the hundreds of thousands of miles around the supply station. Any deeper is just a little better. What do you want? If you need it, you could just take these. After refining with the heavenly fire and refining with the 1,000 tempering method, it's very easy to raise the quality of this mineral to the highest level. I know this, but I really feel that there's something I need below. It's definitely not this mineral. Chun Hao said seriously. Is that so? Seeing Chun Hao like this, Immortal Venerable Han Mei pondered for a moment. Chun Hao's so-called feeling usually only appeared when he encountered a great opportunity. Moreover, it had nothing to do with the strength of one's perception. Could it be that there's really something else here? Yes, how do I dig? How deep do I have to dig? Immortal Venerable Han Mei said. As she spoke, she waved her hand and sent out 108 streams of energy, which directly poured into the formation formed by Chun Hao. In an instant, the light in the entire cave was more than 10 times stronger than before. It was obvious that the power of the formation had increased by several levels. Follow the direction I'm digging and continue down. It's not very deep, only about 8,000 feet. Immortal Venerable Han Mei didn't say anything, but when Huyan Albua and the others heard Chun Hao's words, they were dumbfounded. Damn, 8,000 feet isn't very deep? Perhaps only their boss could say this. Huyan Albua and the others were fine, but Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxiu, who knew Chun Hao very little, were even more speechless. Gee, Immortal Venerable Han Mei frowned slightly and made her move. She didn't use the carving technique, but relied on her incomparably powerful true essence to directly penetrate. This was something that couldn't be helped. Although the highest level of the carving technique was indestructible, it couldn't use any true essence. Even if it was digging tofu, it would take a long time to dig a distance of 8,000 feet. With Immortal Venerable Han Mei's cultivation, she only needed to use her true essence to penetrate it, and the speed was so fast that it made everyone stunned. The incomparably sharp energy was like a laser cutter, but also like a diamond drill. A deep circular hole continued to extend downwards, but Immortal Venerable Han Mei didn't even have a place to move. Okay, it's done. In less than a minute, Chun Hao hurriedly stopped her. I'll go down and take a look. I'll be right back. Be careful. The temperature of the lava below is unbearable even for creation realm experts. Immortal Venerable Han Mei sensed the situation below and reminded. Don't worry. Hiss. While everyone was puzzled, Chun Hao directly turned into a stream of light and drilled into the cave. Billowing heat waves hit his face. As Chun Hao went deeper, the temperature rose sharply. Even Chun Hao felt a huge pressure, but fortunately, it was still within his tolerance range. Chun Hao was very excited because he was about to collect the materials needed to further fuse with Old God, the Fire Essence Jade Marrow. In fact, when Chun Hao chose to dig here, he had already discovered the existence of the Fire Essence Jade Marrow. Of course, this was what Old God sensed. Although Chun Hao's perception could sense tens of thousands of feet underground, he couldn't catch the aura of the Fire Essence Jade Marrow. In fact, if one hadn't seen the Fire Essence Jade Marrow, no one would be able to catch it. Otherwise, with immortal venerable Han, May's cultivation, how could she not feel the abnormality? This is the fire essence jade marrow. After arriving at the bottom of the cave, Chun Hao stared at the crimson lava at the bottom of the cave and frowned. Even in front of him, Chun Hao still didn't find anything unusual. The fire essence jade marrow that old God spoke of didn't seem to be any different from the surrounding lava. Yes, don't doubt it. It's normal that you can't see it. The fire essence jade marrow has been nurtured for millions of years and has a certain level of intelligence. At this moment, it sensed our arrival and simulated the color and aura of the lava. Let's begin. Old God said, Okay. Hiss. Chun Hao's mind stirred. He no longer cared about the attention of immortal venerable Han, Mei, and the others. In the face of death a moment ago, he had already exposed the fact that he had a special magic weapon. There was nothing to worry about as long as they didn't know about the existence of Old God and Treasure Hunter Sword Spirit. The moment his mind stirred, under Old God's guidance, a seven-colored light floated out from between Chun Hao's eyebrows and slowly integrated into the lava at the bottom of the cave. Chun Hao only needed to cooperate with Old God. He only needed to provide energy, while Old God's spiritual sense slowly integrated into the lava. Between the heavens and the earth, any treasure that had gained sentience was not a simple matter if one wanted to extract it. The first thing one had to do was to tame the sentience within it. Whether it was through coercion, bribery, or goodwill, in short, one had to make it willingly before they could successfully extract it. Otherwise, this intelligence that was born between heaven and earth would resist to the death. It would rather destroy its own intelligence than be willing to be extracted. In that case, even if the fire essence jade marrow was extracted, it would lose its original effect. Blood essence. After a full 10 minutes, Old God suddenly said in Chun Hao's mind, Chi. Chun Hao didn't hesitate. He directly forced out a blood arrow and sprayed it on the lava below him. Asterisk voila. Asterisk in an instant, a ghostly blue flame rose from the lava. In the next moment, the lava underwent an astonishing change. It turned into a fiery red, crystal-clear liquid. A terrifying heat was contained within, but it didn't leak out. Because of this change, the surrounding aura didn't change at all. This was the fire essence jade marrow. Absorb. Asterisk kiss. Asterisk the liquid was 30 feet in radius. With the urging of Chun Hao's mind, it turned into a water arrow and fused into Chun Hao's eyebrows with lightning speed. At this moment, Chun Hao could clearly feel a faint life fluctuation. Through the blood essence, it created a subtle connection with him. This feeling allowed Chun Hao to be sure that if he wanted to, he could freely control the terrifying heavenly flame aura contained within. This heavenly flame was of a high level, reaching a realm that Chun Hao had never comprehended. Phew, I didn't expect this little fellow to be so difficult to deal with. Its intelligence is quite high. Fortunately, it is still within my control. Once we return, we can go into seclusion and further integrate. Old God said, What is the level of this heavenly flame? It seems very strong. Chun Hao asked. 9-layered heavenly flame. The highest level of heavenly flame. In the future, as your cultivation increases, it can transform into a higher level mystical flame. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 430. Mystic Fire. According to the Boundless Worlds classification, one needed to reach the human immortal stage to be able to comprehend it. The heaven fire was the highest level of the fire attribute below the human immortal stage. 9 heavenly fire. That's not bad. I should be able to use it to attack, right? Don't think like that. The reason why you chose the fire essence jade marrow with spiritual wisdom is because of its self-recovery ability. Otherwise, how many times can you use such a small amount of heaven fire? After you and I have further integrated, it will exist in the smelting furnace. Whether it is alchemy or weapon refining, it will allow you to accurately control the fire. When refining the same elixir or weapon, you only need to do it once and it will remember the whole process. The next time you refine it, you don't need to control it at all, and it will cooperate with you very well. More importantly, after the smelting, it can self-recover fire attribute energy. Sound good? Let's go. Hiss! A stream of light flashed, and Chun Hao appeared in front of everyone. What is it? Senior Immortal Han, Mei asked curiously. When the fire essence Jade Marrow appeared, she had clearly sensed the aura of the fire essence Jade Marrow. However, it was nothing in her eyes. The only thing that surprised her was that it contained a trace of spiritual wisdom. I don't know. I feel that it's a good thing. It's useful for me to comprehend the heaven-fire realm. Chun Hao said vaguely and did not want to explain too much. Senior Immortal Han, Mei did not ask any more questions. She waved her hand and released a stream of energy to wrap everyone up. With a casual grab, the array that Chun Hao had set up dissipated. 108 crystals that even Senior Immortal Han Mei was tempted by were taken in her bag. She said, I'll give you a spiritual medicine that can regenerate your broken arm in a short time, and these crystals are mine, cough, cough, no problem. If you need it, I have more. We're family, so you don't have to treat me like an outsider. Take it. When we return to the supply station, swallow it, and your broken arm will be regenerated in 2 hours. Chi. Senior Immortal Han Mei stared at Chun Hao and said. After that, she did not say anything else and directly wrapped everyone up and rushed to the top of the cave. Die. Chi, chi, chi. Rumble. Ow, ow, ow. When Immortal Venerable Han Mei led everyone to the void, she casually launched attacks that turned those fearless monsters into ashes. Even the half-step human immortal monster was no exception. What do you mean by absolute power? This was it. Is this the strength of an immortal venerable? Too strong. When can I reach such a realm? Whether it was Huyan Albua and the rest, or Chun Hao, they were all overwhelmed with shock. The monsters that had almost forced them to their deaths were like ants in front of them, unable to withstand a single blow. With a wave of his hand, a large area was wiped out. No more monsters could come within 100 miles of them. Power! Power! If I had this kind of power, how could this group of monsters force me into such a desperate situation? Chun Hao felt Han Mei's terrifying power and clenched his remaining fist. Open! A spatial crack suddenly appeared in front of them. Immortal Venerable Han Mei led them into the spatial crack. The violent and chaotic energy couldn't get close to them. The spatial crack was moving forward at an astonishing speed. Kacha! Kacha! In the chaotic space, terrifying lightning would erupt from time to time. Looking from afar, one could see a blue passage that seemed to stretch across the Milky Way. Densely packed monsters were wrapped in it, constantly tearing through the space barrier and sending them into the boundless land. They'd become so dense. Senior Immortal Han Mei was surprised when she saw this scene. She led everyone in the chaotic space and quickly changed directions. Obviously, she was avoiding the eruption of the Monster Tide River and the terrifying thunderbolts that it triggered. In just 2 minutes, Senior Immortal Han Mei directly tore the space, and everyone appeared on the side of the 160th supply station's wall. Boom, 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 kill. Terrifying explosions and the sounds of slaughter immediately entered everyone's ears. There was an endless number of monsters. Around the city walls were countless experts at the peak of the late-stage primordial spirit realm, half-step to the creation realm, as well as early-stage and middle-stage creation realm experts. They gathered in waves and fought with the monsters. The scene was extremely intense and tragic. The protective barrier opens once every 2 hours. High-level monsters won't come close to the city for a few days. If you're not afraid, you could train here. However, if you encounter danger again, I won't take action. Senior Immortal Han Mei was still protecting everyone with her energy. The surrounding monsters that were not afraid of death could not get close at all. Do you want to try? Senior Immortal Han Mei believed that Chun Hao and Chun Shui's combat power should be able to withstand it. Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxiu could also barely do it. However, she wasn't sure about Huyan Albua and the others. After all, the cultivators who came out at this moment were led by Creation Realm experts. Let's withdraw our protection. I've been holding it in for a long time. Don't worry about them, Chen Hao said directly. All right, be careful. Master, it's them. The one with the broken arm is Chen Hao. When Senior Immortal Han Mei, Chen Hao, and the others appeared at the foot of the city wall, on the city wall, Soul Fighter, who had spent more than half an hour to recover, stopped healing early because he was worried about the situation of Chen Hao and the others. At this moment, when he saw Chen Hao and the others, he said with a ferocious face, "Just these few people were able to almost wipe out your entire army?" After sensing the aura of Chen Hao and the others with his powerful perception, Fan Suixin stared at Soul Fighter and said with a gloomy face, if not for the fact that Soul Fighter was his favorite disciple, he would have given him a tight slap. In his opinion, this was a great humiliation. Not to mention that Soul Fighter MO was in the blessed realm. Even if 10 of the other 17 people were in the same realm, they would be able to kill Chen Hao and the others. But in the end, all 17 of them died, and Soul Fighter MO, who was in the blessed realm, almost died. How could this be? Master, they are very strong. Most importantly, their sneak attack caused us serious damage. Humph. Are they back? At the same time, a graceful figure locked onto Senior Immortal Han Mei and the others. When she arrived, she first confirmed whether Chen Hao and the others were there, and then she got the news from Meng Yichong. She also knew that Senior Immortal Han Mei had already gone to rescue them, so she did not ask to open the seal. With Senior Immortal Han Mei, as long as she could arrive in time, it was impossible that they could not save them. Kill. At Chen Hao's order, the group immediately started to kill crazily. After facing 2 life and death situations, especially the last one where they were forced to be cowards, everyone had a belly full of anger and killing intent that needed to be released. Although they were only killing some small fries and not the main culprits, at least they could vent their anger. Furthermore, resisting the beast horde was indeed the best place for young people to train themselves. Naturally, they would not give up. Huyan Albua and the rest of the 12 formed the formless 12 constellations battle formation, while Chen Hao, Chen Shui, Jiang Hai, and Huang Wenxu were at the 4 corners of the battle formation, complementing each other. Coupled with everyone's desire to vent their frustrations, the commotion caused by the battle attracted the attention of countless people on the city walls. Even Senior Immortal Han Mei, Senior Immortal Yun Wei, Fan Suixin, and the others were dumbfounded. How could a dozen people with low realms be so strong? The 16 people seemed to have formed an indestructible war chariot. They charged through the monsters near the city walls, and wherever they went, countless monsters screamed in pain and were torn apart. Even the monsters in the middle stage of Blessed Realm could not stop the group's advance. The monsters' limbs flew everywhere, and what made some of the poor people speechless was that Chen Hao and the others did not even stop for a moment after killing the monsters in the creation realm. They did not even care about the precious monster's inner core. What a magical battle formation. Many experts saw the clues and praised in their hearts. The disciples of Limitless Immortal Palace are really strong. Look, there are a few groups of disciples over there. They're all from the various halls of Limitless Demon Palace. Their realms are obviously much higher, but their lethality is far less than these disciples. You can't say that. Didn't you see that it was Senior Immortal Han Mei who brought them here? Senior Immortal Han Mei, her identity is not simple. Wouldn't it be easy for her to learn all the lost techniques of Limitless Immortal Palace? The other disciples from the various halls of Limitless Immortal Palace are also far from being comparable to them, right? That's true. However, the talent of these people is also incomparable to ordinary people, especially the one with the broken arm and the one in the blue dress. It's really incredible. How? Chen Hao. Chen Hao. 3 voices, separated by a few miles, penetrated the dense monster group, terrifying beast roars and explosions, and appeared in Chen Hao's ears. Chen Hao, who was killing to his heart's content, felt a thump in his heart, and immediately his whole face revealed a touch of surprise. How? Only Xia Yi would call him this. Who else could call him Chun Hao twice with the same surprise and different feelings, other than Helian Woozy and Tantai Lien, who had always been calling him by his name from the beginning? Bang, bang, bang. Chun Hao punched and kicked, and in an instant, he violently blasted away the attacking monsters. His whole body suddenly soared into the sky, and his eyes were directly locked on a few miles away, where three figures were fighting fiercely. After not seeing each other for more than 2 years, how could Chun Hao not be excited when they suddenly met in this strange place? Kill. Chun Hao, who was originally killing back and forth in the vicinity, suddenly led everyone to kill in another direction. What's wrong with you? Seeing Chun Hao's abnormality, Chen Shui asked puzzledly. Hee, little Wu and the others are also here. Chun Hao chuckled and said with a voice transmission. Hearing Chun Hao's words, Chen Shui curled her lips but didn't say anything. She released her mind and immediately sensed the aura of the three women. Helian Woozy, Xia Yuyu, and Tantai Lien only followed the disciples of Yunwei Hall to gain experience. Senior Immortal Yunwei didn't mention to them that Chun Hao might be here, but how could they not notice the terrifying momentum caused by Chun Hao, Chen Shui, and the others who were not far away? This sudden surprise almost made the three of them lose their minds. Fortunately, they were surrounded by senior brothers and sisters who took care of them. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 431. What are they doing? When the Yunwei Hall disciples who were with Helian Woozy and the other two saw Chun Hao and the others approach them directly, they all frowned slightly. Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxu knew them. Chen Shui was also known by someone else. After all, the disciples of Limitless Immortal Palace often had the opportunity to train together. However, no one recognized the one-armed youth, Huyaneo Bo, and the rest of the group. Moreover, they had already seen that the one-armed youth was the leader. Whether it was the battle strength or actions, it could prove this point. Although they knew each other, the disciples of each palace had a competitive relationship. Basically, they did not have any friendship. Why were they rushing towards them aggressively at this time? Wow, there are 3 beauties. Boss brought us here to see the beauties? Jing Tiangang and Bailey Lianqing's eyes lit up. The beauties are looking at me. Go, with your pig head, it's more like looking at me. Jing Tiangang and Bailey Lianqing did not change their nature in such a chaotic situation. Of course, the main reason was that there was no pressure. The level of the monsters now could not be compared to the monsters they encountered in the depths. Even if they did not use the battle formation, they could handle it. Not to mention, they were in the 12 phaseless constellations battle formation. Otherwise, they would not have the leisure to do this. They are obviously looking at Boss. They are disciples of Limitless Immortal Palace. Look at Boss's expression. Could it be Little 8 and Little 9, do you know them? Huyan Albua, who was beside the two, did not reveal his lecherous gaze this time, and said rationally, I've heard. They should be the 3 female disciples of Yunwei Palace who started to show their talents in the past 2 years. They're called Helian Woozy, Xia Yuyu, and Tantai Lien. I don't know who they are, but they are not bad. Hee, I have a new target. Jiang Hai, this time you can't fight with me. There are 3, don't choose the same as me. What's with your expressions? Huang Wenxu had not finished speaking when Jing Tiangang and Bailey Lianqing's expressions changed. Audacious. Damn, do you want to die? You 2 perverts. Is this something you can be tempted by? Huyan Albua, Jing Tiangang, and Bailey Lianqing stared at the 3 of them and said in a low voice, Ranking is ranking. Don't think that you can suppress the 2 of us just because you're ranked high. Why can't we? We're both from the Limitless Immortal Palace. Although we're not from the same palace, we're still close to each other. Huang Wenxu said unwillingly. Awesome. All right, then go ahead. Anyway, you guys have no duties, so you can rush over now. I'll support you. Yeah, I support it too. I have faith in you. Go, go. Show me your might and majesty. Don't listen to them. These 3 people are our sisters-in-law. At this moment, Meng Xiao couldn't stand it anymore and said in a low voice, 3 sisters-in-law? What do you mean? Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxu were puzzled. They naturally didn't know about Chen Hao's romantic affairs, but Huyan Aobo and the others all knew about it when they were drinking. After hearing the name from Huang Wenxu, how could he not remember? They are both boss Dao companions. Meng Xiao said, "It can't be, right? Isn't that a little too exaggerated?" Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxu were a little dumbfounded. What's so exaggerated about it? The three of them, Aunt Shui and Boss, are all from the Eastern continent. Hey, brat, what do you mean? The sky is full of monsters, and they're crowding toward us. Is it fun? When they were 10,000 feet away, the blessed realm expert who led the team from Yunwei Hall, a teenager who was slightly older than Chen Hao and the others, shouted at Chen Hao, who was charging ahead. "Senior brother Yun, he's looking for us." Before Chen Hao could say anything, Xia Yuyu spoke first. "We'll go over first. Thank you for leading us, senior brother." Chi chi chi. Once Xia Yuyu finished speaking, she, Helian Wuzi, and Tantai Lian directly activated their energy and blasted away the monsters around them. They also rushed toward Chen Hao. "This, junior sisters, you want to leave the team?" "Then, who is he?" "He's Chen Hao. If there's a chance, I'll be with you again." "I'm sorry," Xia Yu said apologetically, but her figure didn't stop at all. "Chen Hao? He's Chen Hao." Hearing Xia Yuyu's words, the disciples of Yunwei Hall all revealed surprised expressions. Unlike Cold Plum Hall, all the members of Yunwei Hall, regardless of whether they were young disciples or high-ranking members, were familiar with the name Chen Hao. As early as a year ago, when Chen Hao stepped into the Central Continent, Senior Immortal Yunwei had announced Chen Hao's information. If any disciple of Yunwei Hall met Chen Hao during their training, they had to take care of him. He was Yunwei Hall's top VIP. Moreover, Senior Immortal Yunwei also faintly revealed the relationship between Xia Yuyu and the other two and Chen Hao. It was also because of this that Xia Yuyu, Helian Wuzi, and Tantai Lian didn't have any flies around them. No wonder the Hall Master values him so much. At this moment, all the disciples of Yunwei Hall who were in the midst of battle looked at Chen Hao with completely different eyes. Expand the range and respectfully welcome the arrival of the three sisters-in-law. Huyan Aobo let out an exaggerated roar, and the phaseless constellation battle formation formed by the 12 of them instantly changed its formation with a crash. When Helian Wuzi and the other two heard Huyan Aobo's exaggerated shout, they were a little happy in their hearts. Of course, they were also a little embarrassed. Happy because it seemed that Chen Hao had already told the people who were with him. Embarrassed because this address was a little too direct. After all, although their relationship with Chen Hao was clear, they still hadn't become true Dao companions. "Hao, what's wrong with your arm?" Xia Yu was always so simple and direct, without the slightest barrier of meeting after a long separation. The moment she met up with Chen Hao, she took the initiative to move to Chen Hao's side and asked. Helian Wuzi, who was as cold as the moon and whose aura was even more ethereal, and Tantai Lian, whose face was slightly red, had both excited and a trace of bashfulness in their eyes. Their gazes towards Chen Hao were a little evasive, as if they weren't used to this sudden reunion. "It's a small matter. In a moment, I'll go back and eat some spirit medicine, and it'll be as good as new." "What's wrong, little Wu, little Lian? After not seeing each other for 2 years, are you shy?" Chen Hao said with a slight smile. "Of course not." Helian Wuzi said, "You're making such a big scene. Many people are looking at us." At this moment, the 4 of them were already surrounded by Huyan Aobo and the others. No monsters could get close. However, no matter if it was Chen Shui or the sisters, they all pricked up their ears and listened to the 4's conversation. "Of course not. It's a pity that I only have one arm at the moment. Otherwise, I would at least give you a hug." "Ha!" Chen Hao's gaze swept across the 3 of them and said. In fact, this guy was also a little embarrassed in his heart. After all, this was the Beast Tide. Of course, if Chen Shui wasn't present, it would definitely be much better. As for the sisters, Chen Hao didn't have any psychological pressure at all. After a brief exchange of words, the 4 of them didn't want to show off too much in front of so many people. Soon, the battle began. While fighting, Chen Hao introduced Huyan Aobo and the others to the 3 girls. After introducing everyone, He introduced Chun Shui, whom the three girls had long heard of but had never seen before. Chun Shui, the three girls easily accepted. After all, Chun had already given them a heads up. As for the beautiful sisters, Chun Hao only vaguely introduced them for the time being and did not say much. About an hour later, the sealing enchantment of the supply station was opened. Countless cultivators who had exhausted too much energy flew into the supply station. Although Chun Hao and the others didn't consume much energy and performed very bravely, their injuries had not fully recovered. Especially Lung Ning Huan, Meng Xiao, and Chun Hao, who was missing an arm. Coupled with the arrival of the three girls and the fact that the beast tide wasn't much of a challenge at this moment, everyone also flew into the supply station. Brother Chun, I'm sorry just now. I've heard Master and the three junior sisters mention you many times. I've long heard of your name, but I've never had the chance to meet you. I'm Yin Feiyang. When Chun Hao and the others had just climbed up the city wall, more than 20 disciples of Yun Wei Hall quickly rushed over. The disciple who shouted at Chun Hao just now clasped his fist and said to Chun Hao, Brother Chun, I'm Duan Shuelu. Nice to meet you. Brother Chun, cough, cough. You don't have to be so polite. Thank you for taking care of Xiao Wu, Xiao Yin, and Yu. Chun Hao was a little dumbfounded. He thought that he would encounter a few love rivals, but he didn't expect that these guys, regardless of whether they were men or women, looked at him with very friendly eyes with a trace of faint admiration. This made him feel a little strange. Little guy, long time no see. At this moment, Senior Immortal Yun Wei, who had arrived a long time ago, quietly appeared in front of Chun Hao and the others. The graceful Senior Immortal Yun Wei's face was brimming with a kind smile, as if she was an elder meeting a junior. It was natural. Greetings, Master. Seeing the familiar female Senior Immortal, everyone immediately clasped their fists and saluted. Chun Hao also clasped his fists and saluted with the others. He also called her Master. No need to be so polite, Senior Immortal Yun Wei said with a smile. She was obviously very satisfied with Chun Hao calling her Master. She stared at Chun Hao and said, In more than 2 years, although your cultivation level is not that high, your combat strength is still so outstanding. It's really rare. I heard that there was a beast tide in the supply station of Dian City, so I was worried that you might not be here. I didn't expect to find you here when I arrived. Fortunately, Senior Immortal Han Mei arrived early. Is your arm okay? It's okay, it's okay. Senior Immortal Han Mei has already given me the elixir, but I haven't had the time to take it. Thank you for your concern, Master. Oh? Then I don't need to give it to you. Palace Master Han Mei, long time no see. At this moment, Senior Immortal Han Mei also arrived in front of everyone. Senior Immortal Yun Wei hastily clasped her fists and greeted Han Mei. Long time no see. Your 3 disciples are not bad. Senior Immortal Han Mei glanced at Senior Immortal Yun Wei before sizing up Helian Wuzi, Tantai Lian, and Xia Yu. You're flattering me. Compared to your precious female disciple, they're just about the same. For now, they're still slightly inferior, Senior Immortal Yun Wei said with a smile. Although the two of them were complimenting each other, everyone could feel that something was wrong. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to vote for it at Chidian. Come. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 432. Go and rest. The strength of today's beast tide is not a threat to you, especially little Hao and little Shui. You too. Venerable Han Mei looked at Chun Hao and Chun Shui with a gentle gaze. You two go and rest as well. Perform well tomorrow. Especially you, little Wu. You have to comprehend the use of the power of reincarnation. Venerable Yun Wei said with a smile. Yes. How could Chun Hao not dodge when the immortals were bickering? Especially from the looks of it. It seems like it was because of him. His face is really big. Chun Shui, Helian Wuzi, and the other 2 were also quite embarrassed. They haven't even started fighting. Why did the elders start? This is really the case of the emperor not being anxious, but the eunuchs are. After arriving at the palace, Helian Wuzi, Xia Yu, and Tantai Lian naturally followed Chun Hao and the others. Huyi and Alboa and the others consciously avoided them and entered their own rooms. Under Chun Hao's signal, the two beautiful sisters also took their leave. Only Chun Hao, Chun Shui, and the three girls stayed in the hall of the palace. However, Huyi and Alboa and the others all pricked up their ears. Unfortunately, Chun Hao directly laid down a barrier, so everyone could only obediently enter the cultivation room to recuperate and heal their injuries. After not seeing each other for more than 2 years, Chun Hao naturally couldn't help but ask about each other's experiences. The three girls' experiences were the same as Chun Shui's. When it was the three girls' turn to ask about Chun Hao's experience, Chun Hao scratched his head and looked at Chun Shui. "Little Shui, why don't you tell me about it? Why do you want me to tell you? If you dare to do it, then you must dare to admit it. Tell me yourself." Cough, cough. "You see, I'm still a one-armed hero. It's settled then. Anyway, you already know about my experience. I'll go and recover first." "Oh, right. Let's get to know each other formally." "Yes." After Chun Hao finished speaking, he didn't allow Chun Shui to refuse and directly entered a room. It must be Lung Ning Huan and Lung Ning Lo. You can tell just by looking at him. Helian Wuzi, who was as cold as the moon, rolled her eyes at Chun Hao's room and said, "You can't blame him. You left early. I was with him for a period of time. A year ago, I was brought to the limitless immortal palace by my mother. It was the day before yesterday that I met up with him in Songyuan City," Chun Shui said helplessly. Then he talked about Chun Hao's experience during this period. He highlighted the main point and told them about how the beautiful sisters had saved Chun Hao's life, which made the three girls feel a little better. Phew! After entering the cultivation room, Chun Hao's powerful soul perception locked onto the four women's conversation. Since he was the one who had set up the barrier, it naturally wouldn't affect him. Seeing that Chun Shui had settled everything for him, he let out a long sigh of relief. He took out the pill that Venerable Han Mei gave him and swallowed it. Hiss, hiss, hiss. As soon as the pill entered his stomach, it immediately surged with heat. In an instant, Chun Hao felt that his blood was circulating crazily. At the moment when his right arm was cut off, all the blood in his body surged towards his right arm as if it had found a vent. But miraculously, a powerful medicinal power blocked the blood and didn't leak out from the wound. Instead, it accelerated the growth of his flesh and blood by several times. He, who possessed the immortal bloodline, was already recovering slowly. At this moment, with the effect of the medicinal power, he didn't need to do much and began to recover at an astonishing speed. According to Venerable Han Mei, it would take 4 hours for a severed finger to regrow. But after only half an hour, Chun Hao's right arm had completely grown out. It was no different from before, and the strength of his flesh and blood didn't weaken at all. Phew! The harvest this time is huge. It seems like I'm about to break through. Old God, let me cultivate first, then we'll merge. All right. 4 hours later, Chun Hao's cultivation room had a wave of dense energy in advance. He, who was in the late primordial soul stage, had finally succeeded in advancing to the peak of the late primordial soul stage. But this wave of dense energy did not end. Pieces of top-grade primordial crystal stones were consumed at an astonishing rate of 2 per 10 minutes. After another 8 hours, the dense energy that enveloped Chun Hao finally dissipated. Phew! Chun Hao let out a long breath and opened his eyes. Crackle, crackle, crackle. With a light shake, countless crisp explosive sounds rang out around his body. A power that would make an early-stage creation stage expert tremble in fear suddenly emanated from Chun Hao's body. Half-step to creation stage is actually so strong. The increase in strength from the late primordial soul stage to the peak of the late primordial soul stage is very limited. But at half-step to creation stage, it can be considered an increase in the realm. My body is at least 30% stronger, and my inner yuan has increased by more than 40%. Moreover, I can feel that I haven't completely digested the gains from this life-or-death situation. Not only Chun Hao, but even Huyi and Alboa and the others were in a state of extreme surprise and joy at this moment. Chun Hao thought to himself, If I advance to the blessed realm, my will of the sword Tao and the various laws of heaven and earth that I've comprehended will increase by a realm. With my physical body and soul, it won't be a problem for me to trigger the heavenly punishment, but it's still better for me to stabilize my realm. This beast horde will last for at least a month. The first 10 days should be the best time for me to train. This beast tide could be at level 11. The higher the level of the beast tide, the longer it would last. Moreover, the monsters near the supply station would continue to grow stronger as time passed. This was undoubtedly the best opportunity for training. Old God, let's begin. Yes. Rumble. As the old god spoke, Chun Hao's mind directly exploded. F***CK. In that instant, Chun Hao directly cursed. He had not expected the fusion this time to be so violent. The old god did not give him any hints and directly threw a bomb into Chun Hao's soul palace, causing Chun Hao's soul to almost leave his body. Guard your mind. This fusion will be more painful than any before. This is just the appetizer. Appetizer? Damn it, bring it on. Chi, 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 chi. In the next moment, rays of 7-colored light rose from Chun Hao's body, but Chun Hao's entire body trembled violently. His brows were deeply furrowed, his teeth were tightly clenched, and cold sweat broke out. This was not physical pain, but pure pain that came from the depths of his soul. Chun Hao felt as if his soul was being bitten by thousands of ants as the old god's aura crazily drilled into it. This kind of pain was far beyond Chun Hao's imagination. It was 100 times, 1,000 times more terrifying than the first soul awakening or any of the heavenly punishments. Even with Chun Hao's tenacious nerves, he wished he could die, but his mind was still clear, and as time passed, his senses became sharper and clearer, directly causing this kind of pain to become more and more intense. Time passed minute by minute, second by second. Chun Hao completely forgot the concept of time, feeling as if millions of years had passed. Finally, just as Chun Hao was about to collapse, the pain suddenly disappeared completely. Phew! The fusion is a success. I didn't expect your endurance to be so strong. You didn't even faint, hee. This fusion is perfect, more perfect than any of my previous masters. The old god's words reverberated in Chun Hao's mind, obviously with a trace of surprise and admiration. Chun Hao's entire body trembled like a sieve for a full 2 minutes before he calmed down and said, "Old God, will the fusion in the future be so painful?" "How can that be? It's only this step that's so painful." It's okay. In the future, every time I fuse, the pain will increase by about 10 times. Damn, he can temper the 5-element sword first. When you see the effect, you will feel that everything is worth it. Clang. An hour later, a clear and melodious sword cry abruptly sounded out, and Chun Hao opened his eyes with a pleasantly surprised expression. The 5-element sword exuded a cold aura. Whether it was the shape or the quality, it had improved countless times. This is the upper-grade spirit treasure. Purely based on the quality of the sword body, it barely reaches the middle-grade spirit treasure. However, the materials we fused are all the top materials in the world. Although the formation is not the strongest, it is the most suitable for you now. It is stronger than the upper-grade spirit treasure that you bought. The old god said, "This is also the benefit of tempering your own life source magic treasure." That's true. Chi. Chun Hao casually sent out a sword. A sword light easily left a deep sword hole on the wall of the cultivation room. When Chun Hao looked at the mark on the wall, he was a little dumbfounded. On the other side of the wall, there was a scream from Chun Shui. It's so easy to break through. Little Shui, I didn't do it on purpose." Chun Hao put his face close to the hole in the wall and said to Chun Shui next door. Their rooms were next to each other. The cultivation room was only separated by a 1-foot-thick wall. This wall was not only made of special materials, it also contained a powerful room protection. However, Chun Hao casually sent out a sword and pierced it. If this was in the past, Chun Hao would not be able to do it unless he relied on the carving technique. "You're your sword?" Chun Shui asked in surprise. She had sensed the incomparably sharp sword chi. Naturally, she knew that Chun-Hao had pierced the wall during the sword test. Shu, lower your voice. This is my secret. Don't tell anyone for the time being. Little Shui, tell me what you want to refine. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. You can refine any middle-grade spirit treasure. You can choose the style. Are you sure you're not talking about a middle-grade spirit treasure? Chun Shui asked in disbelief as her eyes widened in surprise. Of course I'm sure. It's a spirit treasure. How is this possible? Everything is possible. All right, it's almost time. If you have her covered, let's go out first. They should be almost done. They are all waiting for you. Chun Shui said snappily. They are out. Remember, this time they killed 17 people from Limitless Demon Palace. You have every reason to take action. Move in batches. Don't let them see any clues. If they want to go deeper, it's naturally better. Yes. When Chun-Hao and the rest walked out of the palace area, Fan Suixin sent a message to the 5 groups of disciples on the city wall far away. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 433. How is this possible? Fan Suixin had just finished speaking when his expression suddenly changed, revealing a look of extreme surprise. When he saw Chun-Hao and the others appear from afar, he did not think much of it. However, at this moment, he suddenly realized that apart from Helian Wuzi, Xia Yiu, Tantai Lian, as well as Chun Shui, Jiang Hai, and Huang Wenxiu, who were already at the half-step to the manifestation realm, Chun-Hao and the others had all broken through. Especially Chun-Hao, who was only at the late primordial soul realm when he returned the day before. Now he had advanced to the half-step to the manifestation realm, directly advancing by 2 small realms. How was this possible? It was only a day. It was normal for them to advance by 1 small realm, but to advance by 2 small realms in a row was a little too exaggerated. Furthermore, Chun-Hao and the others had all advanced. If he had not seen this with his own eyes, Fan Suixin would never have believed this to be true. However, the truth was right in front of him. Wait! Fan Suixin was stunned for a moment before he suddenly transmitted his voice again. That Chun-Hao has advanced to the half-step to the manifestation realm in just 1 day. The others have also advanced to the late primordial soul realm and the peak late primordial soul realm. Chun Fei, Bu Yuan Shan, Chun Guangyuan. The 5 of you will be divided into 5 groups, just in case. What you have to do is to kill them in 1 blow and not give them any chance to call for help. There must be no mistakes. Yes. The disciples of the Limitless Demon Palace's Heartbroken Hall responded in a low voice, but there was a trace of shock in their expressions. In particular, Soul Fighter, who was in the first group, was even more shocked. He had experienced Chun-Hao's ability to challenge those of a higher level. When he was at the late primordial soul realm, he was able to fight evenly with him. How terrifying would the half-step to the manifestation realm be? Fortunately, Fan Suixin had arranged for a nameless peak late manifestation realm expert, which made him feel much more at ease. Little brother Chun-Hao. Just as Chun-Hao led the group up the city wall and waited for the next opening of the seal, a gentle voice suddenly sounded in Chun-Hao's mind. Is it Senior Meng Yicheng? Did you guys have a conflict with the disciples of Limitless Devil Palace? Meng Yicheng said, yesterday, when Fan Suixin, the palace master of the Broken Heart Hall of the Limitless Demon Palace, arrived, I overheard him talking with his disciple, Mo Wuxin. According to Mo Wuxin, your Ao Tan Immortal Palace ambushed them and killed 17 genius disciples. Due to my status, it's inconvenient for me to say too much to the 2 immortal venerables of the Limitless Immortal Palace. If you want to go out and fight against the Beast Tide, you must be careful. It's best not to leave the sight of the 2 immortal venerables. Are they going to make a move? Chun-Hao stared at the densely packed monsters outside the city wall and calmly transmitted his voice. That should be the case. They are all in the blessed realm, and there are also those in the late stage of the blessed realm. Cough, cough, There are also those at the peak of the late stage. If my guess is correct, they will lure you in. They can't directly attack near the city wall, but it's hard to say if they are far away. Remember. All right. Thank you for your reminder, Senior Ming. I'm really sorry I was injured yesterday and didn't have time to thank Senior for your help. You're welcome. A genius like you is the hope of the boundless world. This is what I should do. Meng Yicheng, who was standing far away, smiled when he heard Chun Hao's words. Obviously, he was very satisfied with Chun Hao's courteous words. By doing so, he had already violated the alliance's agreement not to participate in any power struggle. Originally, he had no intention of violating it. Otherwise, why didn't he tell Senior Immortal Han Mei and Senior Immortal Yunwei yesterday? But now he had told Chun Hao. The reason was very simple. In just one day, Chun Hao had advanced from the late stage of the primordial soul realm to the half-step to the blessed realm. This was absolutely incredible. In addition, Chun Hao had displayed a terrifying talent in the battle yesterday, which prompted him to make an exception for once, because he thought it was worth it. Phew. After communicating with Meng Yicheng, Chun Hao took a deep breath and stared at the monster tide outside the city wall. His eyes slowly narrowed, and two sharp and cold rays of light flashed in them. Soul Fighter, very good. Not only did you almost cause all of us to die, but you also inverted right and wrong. I want to see what tricks you can play. Right now, my combat power has definitely increased by more than 5 times compared to yesterday. As long as they are not monstrous geniuses in the middle or late stage of the Blessed Realm, I am not afraid. Even if they are at the peak of the late stage of the Blessed Realm, I still have the power to fight. And in this monster tide, the corners of Chun Hao's mouth curled into a faint, evil smile. Cough, cough. Boss, what's wrong with you? At that moment, Huyan Albua, who still had some special feelings for Chun Hao, coincidentally saw the evil smile on Chun Hao's lips and could not help but ask. After a year of interacting with each other, he and his brothers and sisters had a rather thorough understanding of Chun Hao's temperament, at least on the surface. What did this signature evil smile mean? It meant that someone was going to suffer. It's nothing. These bastards almost killed us. As your boss, I can't wait to rush in and kill them all. Chun Hao stared at the monsters outside and said with a murderous look, "Oh, I thought it was something else." Huyan Albua said with a smile, "Don't make a sound. When we go out later, all of you will stay near the city wall and form a battle formation. Little Shui, Little Wu, Yu, Little Lian, Jianghai, Wensu, all of you will cooperate with their battle formation. Although the monsters are a little weak now, they can train our tenacity and will. Others take 2 hours, but I want all of you to last a day. Also, if I don't come back before dark, don't wait for me. Go back and recover first." What are you going to do?" Chen Shui remained motionless, but she frowned and asked directly through voice transmission. "Nothing much. Just play with the trash from Limitless Demon Palace. Don't worry, with my current strength, no one could do anything to me unless they're at the deity stage. Back then, when I was at the early stage of the primordial soul stage, I lasted 3 days and 3 nights in the monster tide. If there's really danger, I'll contact all of you and ask your mother or Master Yunwei to help. Don't worry, everyone wanted to go with Chun Hao, but they were all rejected by Chun Hao in a domineering manner, so they could only give up. Even Chun Shui knew that she couldn't help in the face of an expert at the middle stage, late stage, or even the peak of the late stage. This made Chun Shui and the others feel very helpless. They had been working hard and cultivating crazily, but in front of a monster like Chun Hao, they couldn't get close to him, let alone surpass him. Chun Hao didn't know that his decision this time had a great impact on Chun Shui, who was eager to be strong and sincerely loyal to him. It also made Chun Shui make a ruthless decision. "Let's go." Hiss, 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 hiss. Less than an hour later, the Guardian restriction was activated. Countless Guardian groups and Guardians immediately turned into streams of light and rushed out of the Guardian restriction, merging into the dense beast tide. Chun Hao and the other 19 people also made their appearance. Compared to the day before, there were several times more cultivators who came to supply point 160 today, and there were countless experts. Nothing much happened when they were on the city walls, but the moment Chun Hao and the others made their appearance, they attracted the gazes of countless cultivators. Most people were attracted by the beauties, but there were a small number of cultivators who had seen Chun Hao and the others the day before, and they sucked in sharp breaths of air in shock. Buzzing discussions erupted sporadically from the people who knew Chun Hao and the others. Then, like a whirlwind, they swept through the front of the city walls in that direction. The words "group leveled up" and "leveled up by 2 stages in a row" became the most frequent words. Chun Hao and the others also became the focus of most people on the city walls. No one noticed that 5 squads made up of people at the beginning stage, middle stage, and later stage of Blessed Realm, as well as one at the peak of the later stage, had also fused into the monster tide tens of thousands of feet away from the spot where Chun Hao had entered the monster tide. In just a few minutes, the 5 squads formed a semicircle with their great strength. None of the people in the 5 squads wore the symbol of the faction they belonged to, and they had also deliberately changed their appearances. With just one glance, anyone could tell that they were trying to hide their true identities. However, this sort of situation was very normal in the cultivation world, and no one found it strange. Besides, the 5 squads acted as if they did not know each other. Due to their great strength, they jumped around and picked up the high-grade monsters around them to kill. This sort of situation was equivalent to blocking all the powerful monsters around Chun Hao and the others. Because of it, once Chun Hao and the others killed a wave of monsters close to them, they no longer had any blessed realm monsters to kill. Damn it, there's no challenge at all. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to go deeper and have some fun. What about you? More than 10 minutes later, Chun Hao's punches and kicks reduced the monsters around him to ashes. His expression seemed to become more and more gloomy, as if he was using a butcher's knife to kill a chicken. He looked very unhappy. His voice was not very loud, but it was definitely loud enough for everyone to hear. Ahem, boss, didn't we say that we were going to train our tenacity, willpower, and teamwork in battle formations? That's our biggest weakness. F*CK, then continue. I can't hold it in anymore. There's no challenge at all. I'm going to have some fun. Shik. Chun Hao cast a disdainful glance at the crowd before he ran away from the city in a frenzy. What great combat power. He's really awesome. Of course. Yesterday, when he was at the later stage of the Essence Soul Realm, he displayed strength that was no weaker than an elite at the early stage of Blessed Realm. He might even have been at the middle stage. And he was injured yesterday. He even lost an arm. Which faction's genius disciple is he from? He should be from the Wuji Celestial Palace. Chun Hao was like a hot knife cutting through butter. He blasted the monsters into pieces with his violent and fierce punches and kicks as if he was venting his anger. When he ran toward the depths of the beast tide, the cultivators on the city wall, who had been watching them, suddenly started to talk about it. Venerable Han Mei and Venerable Yin Wei, who were sitting in a pavilion on the city wall, smiled when they saw Chun Hao's arrogance. Young men are full of vigor and vigor. This is how it should be. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to Conceited. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 434. Keeping a low profile and forbearance were symbols of cowardice in the world of cultivation, especially to young geniuses. This was because it would destroy one's spirit and cause one to lose one's state of mind. Moreover, it involved the most elusive thing in the world, fate. The greater a person's fame and reputation, the greater the amount of luck and opportunities that a person could gather. This was also the real reason why most disciples were arrogant and condescending. Of course, this was also the most basic expression of human nature. It was just that most people could not really control the degree of it. Junior Brother Wuxin, what should we do? When they saw Chun Hao charging into the depths alone, the 5 people with the highest cultivation in the 5 teams all sent telepathic messages to Wuxin. Their goal was to lure Chun Hao and the others into the depths. Once they were out of sight, they would kill them all at lightning speed. However, they did not expect that only Chun Hao would enter the depths alone. Furthermore, from their conversation, it seemed that those people had no intention of entering the depths because they wanted to train their coordination, tenacity, and willpower. One is good. The real culprit is this fellow. Moreover, he is the only one who can threaten me. If we can kill him, the others will not be a threat. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Wuxin said coldly. Let's go. Try to hide as much as possible. Don't let him see through our intentions. Okay. Although Wuxin's cultivation was the lowest among them, none of them dared to look down on him. After all, Wuxin's talent and potential were not something they could compare to. In Fan Suixin's words, Wuxin was a once-in-a-century genius in Broken Heart Hall. If there were no accidents, his future achievements would definitely surpass Fan Suixin, the Hall Master. Therefore, even though this group of people had a higher cultivation level than Soul Fighter, they were still very respectful and obeyed everything he said. 5 at the peak of the advanced stage of the creation realm, 5 at the advanced stage of the creation realm, 10 at the intermediate stage of the creation realm, and 5 at the initial stage of the creation realm, a total of 30 people. How can he resist such a powerful lineup? Not far from the city wall, Chen Shui, who was fighting with the others, used her powerful soul perception to follow Chen Hao's figure deeper and deeper into the city. She could clearly sense the 5 teams surrounding Chen Hao. Her beautiful face flashed with deep worry. Even though she knew that Chen Hao's combat strength was terrifying, Chen Hao had just advanced a half step to manifestation. With such a huge difference in cultivation realm and numbers, how could she not be worried? If it wasn't for Chen Hao telling them not to tell Venerable Han Mei and Venerable Yin Wei, Chen Shui would have told her mother. This was too risky. After hesitating for a long time, Chen Shui finally chose to believe in Chen Hao. He didn't succeed in that adventure. That time, it wasn't as if she had turned something she thought was impossible into a possibility or a miracle. Perhaps this was the reason why she would never be able to catch up with him. Chen Shui sighed softly in her heart. Her eyes became firm as she retracted her soul perception and immersed herself in honing her combat skills. 5 at the peak of the advanced stage of the creation realm, 5 at the advanced stage of the creation realm, 10 at the intermediate stage of the creation realm, and 5 at the initial stage of the creation realm. They really think highly of me. Just as Chen Shui was hesitating, Chen Hao's eyes flashed with a hint of arrogance as he thought to himself. Fortunately, these people's talents can't be compared to Wuxin's. Otherwise, there's really no way to deal with them. His powerful soul perception sensed the aura of Wuxin and the others and the power they displayed as he estimated in his heart. Chen Hao knew that although he couldn't see their true combat strength, he could at least make a rough estimate, and that was enough. Although he was very confident, he wasn't so stupid as to fight with 30 people. If that wasn't courting death, then what was? Only an idiot would do that. Wuxin and the others were thousands of feet away from Chen Hao. Under the cover of the chaotic aura of the monster horde, they believed that Chen Hao wouldn't be able to see through their scheme. And that seemed to be the case. It had to be said that although Wuxin's talent and combat strength were powerful, his intelligence was really nothing much. To be more precise, he was a little brainless. If it was Chen Hao, how could he not think about how they had been discovered when they had followed Chen Hao and the others? And how had they been suddenly counterattacked? And how had they lost their puppet substitutes because of a sneak attack? Not fun at all. Damn it, I've advanced to the half-step through creation realm. Looks like my strength is boundless. Haha. Boom, boom, boom. Chen Hao's confidence swelled as he laughed loudly, accompanied by the sound of terrifying energy wreaking havoc. His voice was as arrogant as it could be, as arrogant as it could be. It's really strange. We've already gone 100 miles in, but there aren't even any decent monster commanders. How can those at the initial stage of the creation realm be enough? I'll continue to go deeper. That bullshit genius from Limitless Demon Palace, Wuxin, almost killed me. If I meet him again, I'll make him cry for his father and mother. I'll beat him until his ancestors can't recognize him. Yes, it's best to castrate this bastard first, then make him eat sh*t and drink piss. Then find a few strong, half-human, half-beast men and make him feel like he's in heaven until he dies. Ha ha! Chun Hao was like a madman. As he crazily hunted monsters, he quickly went deeper and deeper. At the same time, his expression was ruthless and arrogant as he hooted as if there was no one around. The people from Limitless Demon Palace, who had formed a semicircle and maintained a certain distance from Chun Hao, had extremely strange expressions on their faces. This was especially so for the 5 people who were with Wu Xin. They were too embarrassed to even look at Wu Xin. What kind of person was this? Not only was he fighting alone to gain experience, he was also venting his anger like a lunatic. Not only was he venting his anger, he was even targeting Wu Xin. Who was Wu Xin? He was a super genius that only appeared once in 100 years in Broken Heart Palace. He was an existence that they had to curry favor with. When had anyone dared to curse and insult him behind his back? They could imagine how much Chun Hao's words would drive Wu Xin crazy. This brat is really a tragedy. Junior brother Wu Xin is probably going crazy from anger. Later, we have to be more careful when we attack. It's best if we injure him severely and capture him alive. Then, we can let junior brother Wu Xin vent his anger. Yes, we should. I think that brat's appearance is definitely handsome and elegant. If junior brother Wu Xin wants you to act as a strong half-human, half-beast man, you should comply. Get lost. I don't like that. Ha! I can already see this brat's miserable appearance. But, to be honest, this brat's innate talent and battle strength are really terrifying. Damn it, he advanced 2 small realms in one day, but he's still only half-stepped to the manifestation realm. Look at his current battle strength. Even someone in the middle stage of the manifestation realm is not his match. It's also very difficult for someone in the late stage of the manifestation realm to kill him. Junior brother Wu Xin suffered a loss at his hands. Moreover, it's under the condition that his cultivation level is higher than his. You can imagine how terrifying this brat will be when he grows up. Yes, if that's not the case, do you think the palace master only wanted to vent his anger on junior brother Wu Xin and the 17 dead junior brothers and sisters? Such a monstrous genius would be considered an outstanding existence even in the entire limitless devil palace. He's definitely more powerful than junior brother Wu Xin. Yes, if we can kill such a monstrous genius, we can also earn a lot of fate. Of course, if junior brother Wu Xin eats meat, it's enough for us to drink some soup. The 2 leaders of the 2 groups, who were at the peak of the late stage of the manifestation realm, had a good relationship with each other. They communicated through telepathy. Wu Xin gritted his teeth and his face turned green. If it wasn't for the fact that he was still far away from the city wall and could not escape the control of the 2 palace masters of the limitless immortal palace, he would have immediately exploded. At this moment, he could only endure the anger of tearing Chun Hao into pieces. There was no other way. If Chun Hao asked for help at this moment, with the strength of senior immortal Han Mei and senior immortal Yin Wei, they would definitely be able to get the supply station's president to open the seal immediately. They would also be able to launch an extremely powerful attack without moving and save Chun Hao. The terror of the Earth Immortal Realm was definitely not something they could compare with. Just like when Fan Suixin saved him yesterday, he was directly sucked into the city from 100 miles away. What kind of power was that? It's been almost an hour. Huyen Albua and the others, who were fighting, could not fully engage in the battle. Even Helian Wuzi, Xia Yuyu, and Tantai Lian could not do the same. This was because they were all worried about Chun Hao's situation. Their sole perception was far inferior to Chun Hao's. They had already lost track of Chun Hao's aura and could not sense what kind of lineup the limitless demon palace had sent. How could they not be worried? Or rather, how could they not be curious? After all, most of them had blindly chosen to believe in Chun Hao. Open. Finally, everyone could not help but open their psychic mirror and communication devices. Everyone present had already joined A.O. Tian's guardian group. Moreover, when Chun Hao refused to let them join him, he had also agreed to the condition that they were allowed to watch. This way they would feel more at ease. Therefore, When everyone sent out the message to open their psychic mirror and communication devices, Chen Hao also picked them up one after another. He separated a strand of his consciousness into the psychic mirror and communication devices. Everyone was watching Chen Hao's every move as they fought. When Chen Hao was like a madman, arrogantly scolding from time to time, Huyan Albua and the other men, as well as by Xiao Mei, who was even more manly than men, all showed expressions of admiration and worship. Jiang Hai and Huang Wenxiu, who did not know Chen Hao very well, were a little confused and excited. They could not figure out what kind of image Chen Hao had in their hearts. As for the sisters, Tan Hui and Meng Xiao, all three of them had funny expressions on their faces. However, Helian Wuzi, Xia Yuyu, and Tan Tai Lian, who had not seen Chen Hao for more than 2 years, were a little dumbfounded, dazed, and embarrassed, especially when Chen Hao said that he wanted the half-human, half-beast strongman and whatnot. Boring, split for me. Chi. Chen Hao's body suddenly flashed, and in an instant, there were 5 of him. 4 doppelgangers and 1 original body. This is my limit. Come, let's compete with ourselves and see who can kill more. Ha ha. The 5 Chen Hao laughed at the same time. The strength of each of their auras was exactly the same. The only difference was the attributes of the 5 elements. The 5 figures were of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth respectively. It was impossible to tell which was the original body and which was the doppelganger. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 435. Chi. Following Chen Hao's crazy words, the 5 figures suddenly spread out and rushed towards the depths. This, Chen Hao's sudden action caused the people on both sides to express different opinions. Soul Fighter and the rest were shocked and had a headache. Huyan Albua and the rest were only shocked. They did not know that Chen Hao could condense 4 doppelgangers. Seeing everyone's shocked expression, Chen Shui, who had activated the psychic mirror and communication device, frowned slightly. Only Chen Shui knew that Chen Hao used the 5-element sword as the foundation to refine 5 doppelgangers. Including his original body, there should be 6. But now there were only 5. What did this mean? It meant that Chen Hao's original body had already hidden. In fact, it was only for a moment. Huyan Albua and the rest had already seen the clues. Because the scene in the psychic mirror changed to 5 different directions, and Chen Hao was rushing forward. They only saw the back view. The core of the psychic mirror, which should have been the main image of Chen Hao, was empty. There's no room for negotiation. Boss is definitely going to take them down one by one. That's too awesome. He actually has 5 clones. Moreover, the opponent definitely won't be able to distinguish the aura of these 5 clones. Otherwise, Boss wouldn't have done this. That's for sure. Sigh, we thought that Boss had no more secrets in front of us. Who would have thought that Boss was still hiding his unique skills? Damn it, I don't want to fight anymore. Why don't we go to the city wall and watch the show? Don't. I don't want to be beaten up. Boss told us to hold on for a day, see if I don't play you guys to death. Chen Hao, who had blended into the world, was like a fish shuttling between the monsters. He was full of ridicule as he sensed that the 5 teams had to be stretched to the sides as his 5 doppelgangers advanced in 5 different directions. At this moment, they were already more than 300 miles away from the city. Besides him, Soul Fighter, and the others, they couldn't see any other cultivators. Moreover, the monsters could not sense his presence. So even though the monsters were densely packed, they were either chasing after his clone or approaching the supply station. Therefore, Chen Hao's state of being one with everything in the world was not very difficult. At most, it was a little more dangerous. This kid's doppelganger is so realistic. Which one is the real one? The one in the middle is most likely to be true. After all, once the doppelganger is too far away from the main body, it will lose control of his mind. He's not stupid, so he definitely won't use both sides. See, it won't be long before he'll be exposed. As Chen Hao transformed into 5 figures and dispersed into the depths of the beast tide, Soul Fighter, and the others were having a discussion. Although they knew that the possibility of the middle was the highest, they couldn't completely rule out the possibility that Chun Hao was an idiot. Therefore, since they were already deeper in than Chun Hao, they could only follow Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers and move further away. In their opinion, it wouldn't be long before Chun Hao's doppelgangers couldn't continue. After all, the distance between the doppelgangers and the main body couldn't be too far apart, especially in the midst of the beast tide. How can this be? After another quarter of an hour, Soul Fighter and the others became more and more puzzled and surprised. They were now more than 500 miles away from the supply station, which was close to the point where they could attack. However, Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers were still spreading out, and the distance between them was increasing. Furthermore, the aura of each doppelganger didn't weaken in the slightest. Not only that, they were displaying amazing combat power in the midst of the beast tide. How could this be? Even if the main body is in the middle, at this moment, the doppelgangers are almost 200 miles away. How can he control them so well? Especially, these are 4 doppelgangers. 4 doppelgangers and the main body. Under such circumstances, one would have to multitask. Not many people could do this, not to mention that each of the doppelgangers was displaying great combat power. Not to mention, the distance between the doppelgangers was now 400 miles. In the eyes of Soul Fighter and the others, this was absolutely impossible. Don't worry, from now on, let's not kill any high-level monsters. I don't believe that he can still control them. Everyone, keep a good distance. The moment he retrieves his doppelgangers, it will be the time for us to surround and kill him. All right, they must have psychic mirrors and communication devices. If I attack any team, I will definitely be discovered by the other teams. I need to keep a distance. Chun Hao silently moved through the monster horde that did not notice him and waited for the best time to attack. It had to be said that the presence of psychic mirrors and communication devices limited his ability to attack. Otherwise, the distance at this moment would have been sufficient. But now, he had to continue distancing himself. Fortunately, Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers had the 5 elements sword as the body and the 5 divine beasts as the soul. The 5 divine beasts have been upgraded following the fusion with Chun Hao and Chun Hao's advancement. At this moment, the fusion between Chun Hao and Old God had advanced further, causing the 5 elements sword to be upgraded to a middle-grade spirit treasure. Moreover, it was an existence more magical and powerful than a superior-grade spirit treasure in this world. This also caused the 5 divine beasts to be upgraded directly. In fact, unlike ordinary doppelgangers, Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers did not require Chun Hao to expend any energy at all. He only needed to maintain a trace of his mind. At this moment, the ones who were truly controlling the 5-element sword were the 5 divine beasts. Which one of them was not an old monster with rich combat experience? Not to mention 400 miles, even if they were thousands of miles apart, there would be no problem. Another 15 minutes later, Chun Hao was already 50 miles away from the leftmost team. A monster in the initial stage of Blessed Realm suddenly let out a terrifying roar and a pained cry. Without any warning, it attacked the low-grade monsters around it violently. This lasted for a full half a minute before it calmed down, causing the monsters around it to tremble in fear. They did not understand what was going on. None of the monsters noticed that there was a bloodstain around a scale that was much larger than a wash basin on the back of the gigantic monster that was 100 feet tall. In truth, the scale had already fallen off and been placed on its back. Master, the possession is a success. I didn't expect that the power of my soul would be stronger than that of a monster in the initial stage of Blessed Realm. All right, control it well. Just don't let the monsters sense anything unusual. I guarantee that I'll complete the mission. No one expected that the gigantic commander of monsters in the initial stage of Blessed Realm would instantly become Chun Hao's territory, and the monster's life force did not weaken at all. An army was trained for 1,000 days to be used in a single moment. Under Old God's training, Edo Ta finally began to show his worth. Chun Hao, on the other hand, had sneaked into the monster's enormous body without anyone noticing. If this had happened a day ago, Chun-Hao would not have been able to do such a strange thing, even if he was beaten to death. But now it was easy for him. First, he used the soul-subduing art that Old God had taught him at lightning speed. He used a mental attack to numb the monster's soul for a short period of time. Then, Ido Ta executed the evil art of possession at lightning speed and approached the monster. At the same time, Chun-Hao used his fastest speed to break through the monster's scales and crawled into its body. The 3 procedures were completed in one go, and there were no flaws. Even Chen Shui and the others, who saw that Chun-Hao was awake through the spirit-channeling mirror, did not understand what had happened. In an instant, the scene in the spirit-channeling mirror turned into a small space that made them feel strange. Inside the monster's body, roar! Ido Ta roared without restraint and vented. He had stayed in Chun-Hao's mind for several years, and he had long been bored out of his mind. Although his body was only that of a monster at that moment, it still made him very excited. Unfortunately, even though his soul power had become much stronger under Old God's training, and he could completely control the power of this blessed realm monster, he did not have any ultimate skills that he could use. First, the monster's physique and the way it circulated its energy was completely different from that of a cultivator. Second, aside from his soul power, he was originally just a low-level cultivator in the nascent soul realm. These are all things that did not make sense. Fortunately, his mission was very simple. Another blessed realm monster is here. Let it go. When a team on the left saw the blessed realm monster controlled by Chun-Hao, they immediately took a detour and avoided it. They wanted to leave it for Chun-Hao's clone to enjoy. But strangely, the blessed realm monster bared its fangs and brandished its claws. It let out strange cries and charged at them. It had to be worth it. There was a distance of 100 miles between them. If there was no need, a monster commander with human intelligence would basically charge in the direction of the supply station. It would definitely not change its direction because they were 100 miles away. Moreover, when the 6 of them widened the area and made enough space for the monster to pass through, the monster charged straight at the weakest among them, who was in the initial stage of Blessed Realm. Bang, bang, bang. The monster horde automatically avoided it. Ido Ta controlled his body, and when there were no monsters obstructing him, he moved as fast as lightning. He traveled 100 miles in the blink of an eye. You're asking for death. The powerful fighter in the initial stage of Blessed Realm was restricted by the monster horde, and his movement speed was greatly limited. At that moment, it was clearly too late for him to avoid the monster in the initial stage of Blessed Realm. With a furious roar, he attacked violently. It was just a monster commander in the initial stage of Blessed Realm. He did not care about it all. In his eyes, the monster had come to die. The other 5 people who were far away and formed a semicircle with Chun-Hao's clone still maintained a certain distance from it. They also did not care about it. They just felt that the monster was a little too abnormal. However, roar. Boom. The monster let out a furious roar that reverberated through the world. Its huge body instantly charged into the air and pressed down on the powerful fighter in the initial stage of Blessed Realm like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. It completely ignored his violent attacks. No matter who it was, the monster was doomed. Die, idiot! Chick! The monster's huge palm swiftly spread open in an agile manner. At the instant its body was struck by the cultivator's violent energy, it released an incredibly fierce and extremely condensed energy. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 436. A pain scream erupted from the cultivator's mouth. At that moment, he felt a bone-chilling cold. Unfortunately, even though he thought that victory was already in his grasp, he could not react in time. He felt a chill at the center of his brows, and he saw the monster's gigantic body being torn to shreds. His eyes widened, and they were filled with terror and terror. How is this possible? That was the last thing he thought. What? The other 4 people in the group did not expect such an outcome. Besides, they did not have time to save the cultivator. He was actually killed by a monster in the initial stage of Blessed Realm? How is this possible? The 4 of them could not understand. Roar. What shocked them even more was that at this moment, the monster whose skin and flesh were lacerated actually let out a furious roar and stood up violently. Raging flames surged around its body, and the huge injuries that its body had received also began to rapidly recover. A mutated monster? F***CK. Junior Brother Yang, go and kill it. Take revenge for Junior Brother Zhang. After a brief moment of shock, the leader of the group, an elite at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm, ordered with a sullen expression. Understood. The person called Junior Brother Yang was an elite at the middle stage of Blessed Realm. He was also the person closest to the person who was killed. In their eyes, even if it was a mutated monster, he would be enough to kill it. After all, the person was already dead. They could not allow a dead person to disrupt their footwork. It was enough to have one person kill the monster and take care of its remains. But 10 minutes later, the faces of the people in the group were ashen. They could no longer care about anything else and charged at the mutated monster. Because the second elite at the middle stage of Blessed Realm did not follow in the footsteps of the first. What happened over there? The other 4 groups only noticed the abnormality at that moment, and they asked one another, F***CK. We ran into a mutated monster here. Gong Chong-san and Yang Si. Those 2 idiots died because they were careless. What? A mutated monster? I'll go and kill it first. It won't affect us. Roar. When the remaining 4 furious experts rushed over, the mutated monster raised its head to the sky and let out a terrifying roar. However, before the 4 experts could reach it, the monster tore apart the corpses of the 2 experts and stuffed them into its bloody mouth. No one noticed that a figure that was hidden in all things in the world had quietly left. When the 4 of them arrived, they were all furious and attacked violently. No matter how strong the monster was, it was directly turned into a cloud of blood mist. It couldn't be more dead. Damn it, they can only blame themselves for being too careless. Their team's communication is only established between the 5 leaders. The team's communication is also locked onto the team leader. Then let's do it one by one. The formless Chun Hao's handsome face flashed with a touch of coldness and arrogance, filled with endless killing intent. Regardless of whether it was the main culprit or an accomplice, he never knew what mercy was for lowly people who wanted to kill him. Just like when he killed the 30 peerless geniuses in the South Sea Islands, there was nothing he didn't dare to do. Even if the opponent this time was a colossus like the limitless Demon Palace, he didn't have any scruples, although he knew that if he did so, it would be very troublesome and even dangerous in the future. Hiss! Silently shuttling through the group of monsters, Chun Hao rushed to another team. The nightmare began to envelop the disciples of the limitless Demon Palace. Through the psychic mirror, Chun Shui and the others who were watching Chun Hao's every move were a little sluggish. When Chun Hao was inside the monster's huge body, they couldn't figure out what their surroundings were. However, when Chun Hao attacked from inside the monster's body and suddenly appeared, and when the monster's body broke open to look outside, they understood what was going on. However, no one could figure out how Chun Hao had done it. But what happened next was even more shocking. In less than 15 minutes, the second squad ran into a mutated monster again. The weakest among them, who was at the initial stage of Blessed Realm, was killed by the mutated monster. With their previous experience, this time, the leader of the squad sent 2 middle-stage Blessed Realm fighters to charge forward. In the end, the 2 middle-stage Blessed Realm experts died, and the mutated monster died together with them. This caused the people from Limitless Demon Palace to feel a little uneasy. Soul Fighter was called to the side of the disciple with the highest cultivation in the team. He was afraid that Soul Fighter would also run into a mutated monster. This monster horde is a little strange. In less than an hour, 2 mutated monsters appeared, and they're extremely powerful. Junior brother soul fighter, I don't think we can wait any longer. If we continue to go deeper, if we run into a mutated monster in the middle stage or later stage of Blessed Realm, we might all die. Yes, the one in the middle is most likely to be his real body, so let's take care of it. The other four will be left to the four of you. We'll approach at the same time and disguise ourselves to form a team with him. We'll try to attack at the same time and don't give him any chance to call for help. Otherwise, at this distance, I'm afraid we won't be able to stop the two immortal supremacies from the limitless immortal palace from coming to rescue him. Soul Fighter said coldly. He did not expect Chun Hao's luck to be so good. He thought that by letting the powerful monsters pass, Chun Hao's real body would be exposed. But now, before Chun Hao's real body was exposed, 5 of them had already died. Understood. The 5 of us are at the peak of the late stage of Blessed Realm. Do you think we can make him do anything? Let's go. Hiss, hiss, hiss. At this moment, the 5 teams immediately surrounded Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers. Doing so was very risky. It was not that they were taking a risk, but that Chun Hao had discovered them. If he saw their purpose and directly called for help, then their operation would be in vain. After all, they were only 1,000 miles away from the supply station. With the abilities of the 2 celestial paragons, they could arrive in the blink of an eye. Fortunately, as they approached without any purpose, Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers did not react even though they had clearly discovered them. They continued to execute their own ultimate techniques and madly killed the monsters around them as they continued to venture deeper. It had to be said that Chun Hao's strength had already shocked all of them to the point that they could not be any more shocked. It was already unbelievable that Chun Hao alone could be so strong, but it was even more unbelievable that he could still maintain his strength after splitting into 5 doppelgangers. You can't hold on anymore. Chun Hao wanted to kill a few more, but when he sensed their movements, he knew that the possibility of him killing them one by one with the mutated monsters was not high. Killing 5 people in a row, 2 in the early stage of Blessed Realm and 3 in the middle stage of Blessed Realm, seemed easy, but Chun Hao had used up a lot of energy. Moreover, Chun Hao knew that this was the result of a sneak attack. If he had fought them head-on, it would have been impossible for him to have such an effect. Split up. After thinking about it for a moment, Chun Hao sucked in a deep breath and made a decision. Suddenly, the 5 doppelgangers changed their direction and spread out to the sides at an even greater speed. Chun Hao hid in the body of a monster in the early stage of Blessed Realm and approached the group furthest to the side without any obstructions. F***CK, another mutated monster? Chun Hao had already killed 2 people in the furthest left group, so there were only 4 people left. With their previous experience, when they saw the monster commander in the early stage of Blessed Realm charge toward one of them at a terrifying speed without any obstructions, the other 3 instantly roared in anger. I'll kill it first. Shick. Since the 4 of them wanted to surround and kill Chun Hao, they were not very far away from him. When they saw the monster's abnormal actions, how could they dare to let one of them face him? The elite at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm instantly turned into a stream of light and charged through the layers of monsters. Hiss! Roar! When a monster was only 1,000 feet away from the cultivator, and the elite at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm was only 3,000 feet away from the monster, no one knew that Chun Hao and Itoda had already left without a sound. The monster, whose soul had suddenly returned to its body, let out a furious roar at the sky, venting the endless frustration it had just felt. Die for me! Shick, shick, shick! Rumble, roar. The monster, who had just gotten a breather, did not expect that it would be greeted with a violent attack from an elite at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm. It did not even have time to react before it was reduced to ashes. Amazing, Senior Brother Zhao is really. A martial artist in the later stage of Blessed Realm was cheering for his senior brother, but before he could finish his sentence, his voice came to an abrupt halt. His head exploded like a watermelon, and a terrifying explosion followed. When the people from Limitless Demon Palace reacted, they saw many monsters fighting over the elite at the late stage of Blessed Realm. What's going on? What's going on? All of them widened their eyes in shock as they stared at the scene in the mediumship mirror. Chills ran down their spines. Immediately after, when everyone's attention was attracted by the elite who had suddenly died, a shrill scream of pain rose into the air. Another elite at the middle stage of Blessed Realm had his heart pierced through by an extremely terrifying and fierce power. In just a moment, 2 people had died. The first was Chun Hao using the crowd's mentality to create a diversion. The second person had died completely due to shock, and chills running down his spine. That was all. It seemed simple, but to Chun Hao, it was a great risk. If there was even the slightest mistake, he would be exposed. Hence, when he attacked twice, not only did he have to hide in the world, he also had to use dark energy to envelop his body at the moment he attacked, so that the enemy's mediumship mirror could not see him clearly. Once he was discovered, he would not be able to continue with his sneak attack. There's an elite. There's definitely an elite. At that moment, as long as they were not idiots, they would know that they had been ambushed by an elite. When they thought about the situation with the mutated monsters, their hearts turned cold. There was no doubt that the so-called mutated monsters were completely under the control of an elite. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 437. Everyone be careful. It's Wuji Immortal Palace's ultimate concealment technique. F*CK. No wonder this brat dared to come out on his own. Kill. Kill him first. No matter what, we have to kill this brat. When Soul Fighter saw the fear in everyone's eyes, he made up his mind and roared directly into the communication device. If Chun Hao escaped this time, then the chances of finding and killing Chun Hao again would be very slim. The reason was simple. In the world of cultivation, aside from irreconcilable grudges, such as the destruction of sects and clans, cultivators of all levels were restricted by the rules of the world of cultivation. Experts above the deity level could not attack those in the Blessed Realm. If Chun Hao, who was half-stepped to the Blessed Realm, was already so strong, what would happen if he stepped into the Blessed Realm? A hidden expert can't be that strong. Otherwise, why would he ambush us? Moreover, he's attacking those who are alone? Every team, gather together quickly and kill that brat's clone. Soul Fighter said coldly when he saw that everyone was still hesitating. All right, rumble. Rumble. At that moment, the group finally stopped hiding their auras and began to attack violently. They closed in on Chun Hao's clone as fast as lightning. Be careful. Follow me. There were only 2 people left in the team. The late-stage Blessed Realm expert who led the team cautiously said to the middle-stage Blessed Realm expert with a gloomy expression. Yes, cold sweat dripped down the middle-stage Blessed Realm expert's forehead. He could not hide the fear on his face even if he wanted to. He was extremely nervous, afraid that in the next moment he would become the target of the expert who was hiding in the surroundings. An imperceptible breeze drifted to the right of Chun Hao's clone, who was the closest to the 2-man team. Phew! Chun Hao, who was hidden in the world, let out a long sigh. Then, he took a deep breath. His aura was completely restrained at that moment. However, his mind had completely fused with every wisp of energy in his body. He was like a coiled dragon. It was fine if he did not move, but once he moved, it would definitely be an earth-shattering attack. Peak of the late stage of Blessed Realm. If I can kill him in one strike, then it's naturally good. If I can't, then I can only run. These few attacks have already consumed more than half of my true essence. But if I want to escape, it shouldn't be a problem. Chun Hao's eyes were like a venomous snake, staring at the 2 people who were quickly approaching. Die, brat. Chi. Almost at the same time, Chun Hao's 5 doppelgangers were suddenly attacked by the number 1 experts of the 5 groups. They knew very well that since someone was hiding in the surroundings, Chun Hao would have sent out a call for help long ago if he wanted to. No matter what, in their opinion, this was going to be a difficult battle. Moreover, how many hidden experts did the other side have? This was not something they could have predicted. However, just as Soul Fighter had said, it would not be very strong. Otherwise, why not just start a war? Therefore, at this moment, their only goal was to use the most violent and powerful attack to kill Chunhao in one strike, regardless of whether it was the clone or the main body. Once they did this, it would be time for them to quickly leave. They did not have the guts to compete with an expert who was hiding in the surroundings. The enemy was in the dark while they were out in the open. It was really unwise, Hiss, 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 at this moment. Chunhao's 5 doppelgangers suddenly turned into 5 rays of light at the same time, as if they had disappeared into thin air. Soul Fighter, who was guarding the center like a national treasure, was extremely shocked when he saw Chunhao's doppelgangers disappear. After all, according to his judgment, the doppelgangers in the middle were most likely Chunhao's main body. But now, they had disappeared into thin air. What did this mean? It meant that these were really Chunhao's doppelgangers and not the main body. But at this moment, the two groups were even more terrified. The Blessed Realm expert had launched his strongest attack at Chunhao's doppelgangers, but Chunhao's doppelgangers had disappeared into thin air. This was more or less what he had expected. After all, the doppelgangers that he was dealing with were not real. What really frightened him was the fierce and extremely condensed attack that suddenly came from the side. At this moment, his hair stood on end, and the energy around his body surged out with a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas. Boom! A terrifying explosion suddenly sounded. A figure was like a shooting star that streaked across the sky, disappearing in a flash. The moment he disappeared, he spat out a mouthful of blood and even sent several flying monsters at the late primordial soul realm flying. The expert at the peak of the late stage of the manifestation realm was also sent flying by the terrifying energy. A hole that was twice the size of a fist appeared beside his heart, and blood gushed out like a fountain. This was the first time he had been so close to death. If he had not been on high alert, the bloody hole would not have been beside his heart. But his heart, this was the result of him madly activating all his energy to defend himself in the face of death. He believed that even if they were to face each other head-on, such a fierce and condensed attack would still be able to severely injure him, let alone a sneak attack. The two most fatal parts of a cultivator were the head and the heart. The head was a fatal blow, but the heart depended on the situation. If the heart was completely destroyed in an instant, even a deity would find it difficult to save him, unless he had the undying bloodline like Chunhao. Kill him. It's that brat. It's definitely that brat. Boom, boom, boom. Figures quickly charged toward Chunhao, who had only revealed himself for an instant. Unfortunately, they were too far away. There were hundreds of miles between them, and there was also a dense horde of monsters. No matter how fast they were, how fast could they be? Chunhao was also severely injured. If it were not for the fact that the mid-stage Blessed Realm expert did not dare to attack, Chunhao would definitely have been forced to reveal himself. But now, Chunhao had taken advantage of the fact that the heavily injured peak Blessed Realm expert had yet to catch his breath to disappear into the horde of monsters. Chunhao endured the churning of his organs and swam through the horde of monsters like a fish. Then he worked together with the Old God and Edo Ta to attack at the same time. Edo Ta possessed a monster at the late stage of the Essence Soul realm and made it his temporary safe haven. Moreover, he did not dare to move too violently. He controlled the monster and followed the horde of monsters in a rather hidden manner to approach the supply station. Phew! What a pity. If I had attacked the peak Blessed Realm expert from the beginning, I would have definitely succeeded. Chunhao brought out a mutated immortal fruit that was worth cities from the monster's body and swallowed it. But I didn't dare to do this at the beginning. Being able to do this is already beyond my expectations. Chunhao had just stepped into the half-step to Blessed Realm, and he could only truly verify his assessment of his strength through battle. If he had attacked the peak Blessed Realm expert at the beginning, he would have succeeded. But at that time, he did not dare to act recklessly. He could only start from the weakest. In the end, when he had no choice but to expose himself, he tried to attack the peak Blessed Realm expert. Unfortunately, due to his high vigilance, he was a little too slow and did not succeed. Moreover, the power of a peak blessed realm expert was not something Chun Hao could face head-on. 2 in the early stage of the blessed realm, 3 in the middle stage of the blessed realm, and 2 in the late stage of the blessed realm. That's not bad, right? Soul Fighter is lucky. If he had not been surrounded and protected in the middle, he would have definitely killed this brat first. Chun Hao circulated his true origin to heal his injuries as he thought to himself. At the same time, he used his powerful soul perception to sense the movements of Soul Fighter and the others. What made him feel slightly at ease, but also slightly disappointed, was that the group of people only killed a few monsters nearby before they gathered together. They did not care about killing the monsters and headed in the direction of the supply station. Obviously, they were frightened by Chun Hao's sneak attack. When they passed by the area where Chun Hao was hiding, Chun Hao really had the urge to attack again, but he had no choice but to suppress it. Not to mention that he was already injured. Even if he was in peak condition, he would not be able to escape even if he could kill one or even a few of them. Using his own life to exchange for the lives of a few dogs? How could he do such an idiotic thing? Ha ha! Kill them. Kill them all. At the foot of the city wall, Proud Heaven's Guardian Group, which had been the focus of countless people's attention, soon became lazy because of Chun Hao's departure. The speed at which they killed monsters also decreased greatly, which puzzled many people. All of them seemed to be in a daze, and no one knew what they were thinking. But when Chun Hao escaped into a monster's body and began to heal his injuries, all of them suddenly became energetic and in high spirits. Damn it! These beasts dare to make an enemy out of us? Die, die, die! One by one, they shouted excitedly and attacked violently. 7 of them, who were only half-step to the manifestation realm, had killed 7 of the enemy's experts. Even the last expert, who was at the peak of the late primordial spirit realm, almost died. How could this group of people not be excited by such a terrifying battle record? Jiang Hai and Huang Wenchu broke out in cold sweat. They were glad that they had made a wise decision. If they had stubbornly gone against Chun Hao, they would not even know how they died. Realms were all fleeting clouds. Who would have thought that a half-step to the manifestation realm could kill someone at the late primordial spirit realm, or even at the peak of the late primordial spirit realm? And the other party was a genius disciple of the limitless demon palace. At least, Jiang Hai and Huang Wenchu had never heard of anyone in the limitless immortal palace who had this ability. What? When Soul Fighter and the others were about 300 miles away from the city wall, Fan Sui-Shin, who had been waiting impatiently on the city wall, suddenly changed his expression when he saw Soul Fighter and the others. 7 people are missing. Do we have to sacrifice 7 people to kill that kid? Among this group of people, Fan Sui-Shin only had a special connection with Soul Fighter. He had always been able to determine how deep Soul Fighter and the others had gone. But as for what exactly had happened, even he, an Earth Immortal, could not sense it due to the interference of the seal of the supply station and the aura of the Beast Tide. But when he sensed that Soul Fighter had gone 500 miles, he concluded that he could kill Chun Hao. But he did not expect that it would take so long, and even more unexpected that 7 people had not returned. What did it mean if they had not returned? It meant that they had died. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 438. Trash. What a bunch of trash. There are so many experts, but 7 of them were sacrificed just to deal with that kid. 2 of them are at the late stage of the manifestation realm. How can that kid be so strong? They must have underestimated him. Fan Sui-Shin did not know that if he walked out of the VIP area on the city wall and looked back at the ranking pagoda tablet, he would be so angry that he would vomit blood. Phew! On the city wall, Meng Yichong, who had been busy receiving the immortal venerables, heaved a long sigh of relief when he saw Soul Fighter and the rest approaching the city wall. This kid is really incredible. Although I don't know how he did it. It's a miracle that he killed 7 people who are far above him. Meng Yichong was slightly excited. He was always paying attention to the names on the pagoda tablet. None of the dead people could escape his eyes. Soul Fighter and the rest had returned with their faces covered in dust. 7 of their names had disappeared from the pagoda tablet, but Chun Hao's name was still flashing on the tablet. With such talent and combat strength, we should definitely report this to the headquarters. Not long after Soul Fighter and the rest arrived at the city wall, a figure came out from the depths of the beast tide. The power that erupted from the figure was not strong, and the secret technique that he used was also very simple. However, the efficiency of this figure was terrifying. Every time he used a simple technique, a beast would fall. There was no exception. Trash. A bunch of trash. Crack. Bang. There was no need for Soul Fighter and the rest to report. Fan Sui-Shin, who was sitting in the VIP room on the city wall, had the teacup in his hand turned into powder. The tea table in front of him was also turned into a cup. 7 people are dead, but this kid is still alive. How is this possible? Boss, come out with me later, Chun Hao said directly when he returned to the team. His body was stained with blood. Some of it belonged to the beasts, and some belonged to him. However, his injuries were nothing to him at the moment. However, the current battle was meaningless to him. Moreover, he needed to recover to his peak state to prepare for the next wave of challenges from Soul Fighter and the rest. After killing so many of their people, how could they possibly let the matter rest? Letting them train their tenacity was just an excuse, especially for Huyin Aobo and the others. In this 1 year, under his brilliance, they were not lacking in ruthlessness and determination. Especially after experiencing this life and death crisis, each and every one of them had astonishing gains. Of course, Chun Hao had his own reasons for calling everyone back. After the supply point protection barrier was activated, Chun Hao led everyone back to the supply station. Soul Fighter and the others also flew into the supply depot with ugly expressions on their faces. Apart from the looks in their eyes that made them want to strangle Chun Hao to death, they couldn't even let out a fart. They had to be prepared to be scolded by Fan Wuxin. Boss, you are really too powerful. After returning to the palace, Huyin Aobo and the others immediately praised him excitedly. I was just lucky. In a one-on-one fight, I can barely fight against a master in the late stage of the manifestation realm. But if it's a sneak attack, even a master at the peak of the late stage of the manifestation realm won't be able to escape from me. However, as long as they're not idiots, I definitely won't have such a chance next time. Boss, Heartbroken Palace lost more than 20 genius disciples this time. Not to mention Soul Fighter. Even their palace master, Fan Sui-Shin, won't let us go. I think it's better to tell Venerable Immortal Han, Mei, and Venerable Immortal Yun Wei about this. Just this time, they sent so many masters. If we rely on ourselves, I'm afraid we won't be able to train in the future, Huang Wenxu said. Would their palace master, Fan Sui-Shin, dare to attack us? Chun Hao frowned. That won't happen, but masters in the manifestation realm won't be a problem. This time, there are 30 of them. After knowing your strength, how many will they send next time? With the Limitless Demon Palace's methods, they will definitely do everything they can to get back at you. If you all join our Limitless Immortal Palace and train in the designated places, we won't be afraid of them. What I mean is, if we want to train freely in the future, I'm afraid we can't. Don't worry. They're only in the manifestation realm. As long as we all reach the manifestation realm, I don't believe they can take us down. We just have to endure for a while. All right. Next, we have to increase our strength with all our strength. This beast tide will last for at least a month. Originally, if our realms hadn't increased, the first 10 days would be more suitable for us to train. But now, we have to wait for at least 10 days before our battlefield. So, there's still 8 days left. Let's train with all our strength. I can feel that after going through the life and death crisis, all of us have gained a lot. Have you all not fully digested it? Chun Hao casually changed the topic. Yes, I have faint signs of breaking through to half-step to manifestation realm. I can feel that I only need to train for a few days to break through. Huyin Aobo said. Me too. I've never felt it so clearly before. Meng Xiao said. Cough, cough. Looks like everyone has gained a lot. I thought I was the best. That's strange. Could it be because of our blood oath? Bailey Lianqing said. It should be. The blood oath will connect our luck. We did it under the threat of life and death. None of us have any selfish motives. The effect should be better. Of course, for all of us to be like this, a large part of it should be because of boss, right? First King said, this boss influence is definitely there. There's also one more thing. I feel like we've entered the legendary demonic realm. Jiang Hai said at this moment. That's right. It should be the demonic realm. Huang Wenqiu said. Both of them were direct disciples of the limitless immortal palace. Their knowledge was definitely much better than Huyan Albua and the others. Demonic realm? Chen Hao frowned slightly. The demonic berserk realm is an opportunity that is even rarer than enlightenment. It can only appear under the constant pressure of life and death situations. We've only heard Master talk about it occasionally. Once you enter this realm, your soul, body, state of mind, will, and so on will all receive astonishing improvements. I only need to cultivate for a while more, and I'll be able to trigger the divine punishment. Zhang Hai, who is already half a step to the manifestation realm, said, Me too. At most 2 or 3 months. Huang Wenqiu said, I'm about the same. Chen Shui said softly. That should be it. Hearing Jiang Hai's words, Chen Hao thought for a while and said, All right, let's all cultivate. We'll start again in 8 days. Okay, what you're doing is very dangerous. After stepping into the cultivation room, Chen Shui came to the wall that Chen Hao had pierced through and said, Chi, chi, chi. Chen Hao quickly expanded the hole in the wall and went directly to Chen Shui's side. He held Chen Shui's waist and said, What's the danger? Don't be like this. Chen Shui hurriedly pushed Chen Hao away. What are you afraid of? Did anyone see? Chen Hao held Chen Shui firmly. Chen Shui's face was flushed red and her expression was very strange. If you're not in danger, I'll feel better. But what about them? They don't have carving techniques. If they're surrounded, how can they escape? How can they escape? A late-stage manifestation realm expert is not someone they can fight against. Chen Shui said with a red face. She stopped struggling and did not dare to look at Chen Hao. Little Shui, you're a little strange today. What are you afraid of? Only with pressure will we have motivation. We just need to. Not everyone can be like you. You're simply fooling around. You want to hide such a big thing from me? His a mother. Chen Hao was suddenly embarrassed. He did not expect that Venerable Han Mei would come at this time and under such circumstances. Chen Hao felt like he was caught in the act. The hole in the wall was too eye-catching. Chen Shui lowered her head and pushed Chen Hao away. Her face was flushed red. Although she was shy, she did not seem to be surprised. Only at this time did Chen Hao vaguely understand why Chen Shui was a little strange. If you want their good, then leave it all to me. Your road is destined to be lonely. Venerable Han Mei looked straight at Chen Hao and said, That's right. Hiss. At this time, what made Chen Hao even more embarrassed was that Venerable Yun Wei suddenly appeared. Chen Hao was depressed. Damn it, Venerable Yun Wei is too shameless. She doesn't even leave me any privacy. Fortunately, it was only a hole today. If it was when I did that with little Shui, it would be terrible. Of course, Chen Shui seemed to know that Venerable Han Mei was coming, so that kind of situation would not happen. However, Chen Hao could not figure out why Chen Shui hid it from him. Little guy, you're a little biased. Venerable Yun Wei had a smile on her face as she looked at the hole in the wall and said, My 3 precious disciples have just met you. You don't even know how to be intimate with them. Cough, cough. Chen Hao coughed awkwardly. How could he not understand the meaning behind Venerable Yun Wei's words? Venerable Yun Wei, this is not the time to be sentimental. I understand. This little guy's path is indeed destined to be lonely. As for your brothers and sisters, let me and Han Mei Immortal Venerable take turns to take care of them for you. Taking them with you, 1 is restricting yourself, and 2 is putting them in danger. With your talent, even my 3 precious disciples, and little Shui, they can't catch up to you. That's right. Although Venerable Han Mei was unhappy with Venerable Yun Wei's arrival, she could only choose to compromise and said, "It's okay if you care about them. You can come and see them from time to time. If you really want to be with them, it's not good for you and them. Without you, they will develop better, but with you, they might die prematurely. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 439. Ahem. Your growth is destined to be filled with endless troubles because of your character and your luck. And your troubles are not something that they can face with you. At least now is not the time. This they won't agree, Chun Hao said. They will agree. Xiao Shui, what do you think? Chun Shui nodded and stared at Chun Hao. Mother and immortal Reverend Yun Wei are right. We will wait for you to reach the peak. Chun Shui's voice became softer and softer until it became a voice transmission. Me and them will be your cultivation companions. Although she was very shy, her beautiful eyes were staring straight at Chun Hao. Although the word cultivation companions was very soft, it revealed an incomparable firmness. This was the decision that Chun Shui made when she saw that Chun Hao was going to fight against 30 Creation Realm experts alone. Why did she risk her life to pass the level? It was so that she could be with Chun Hao. But when they were really together, she suddenly realized that the distance between her and Chun Hao had not shrunk, but increased. She thought of what her mother had said to her. Perhaps it was true. Under Chun Hao's halo, their growth would definitely be fast, but it would inevitably affect Chun Hao. Moreover, their growth trajectory would also be affected by Chun Hao and completely changed. This was not what she wanted. Especially after Helian Wuzi and the other two arrived, she felt that she had lost herself. In fact, Helian Wuzi and the others had the same feeling. But I have... Chun Hao frowned and said, but he was interrupted again. No buts. It's settled. Xiaoyan and the other two will be fine. This time, they're only here to meet you. I can't let them follow you. Immortal Reverend Yun Wei said. Xiao Shui can talk to the others. There won't be a problem. Immortal Reverend Han Mei said. Chun Hao still wanted to say something, but in the face of the overbearing of the two immortal reverends, he hesitated for a moment and finally chose to compromise. While Chun Hao and the others were in a state of cultivation, Soul Fighter and the others had their heads lowered as they endured Fan Suishin's spittle and scolding in a huge palace in the depths of the residential complex. The old man was fuming with anger. He was someone who cared about his reputation the most. 17 of Soul Fighter's 18 men had already made him vomit blood. This time, he had personally arranged for so many experts in Manifestation Realm, but he had lost 7 of them. Moreover, 2 of them were in the late stage of the Manifestation Realm. With such a huge loss, even he, the Palace Master, would not be able to explain it to the limitless Demon Palace. How could he not be angry? Trash. I'm so angry. Tell me what's going on. Soul Fighter and the others, who were as silent as cicadas in winter, only dared to make a sound when they heard Fan Suishin's words. They looked at each other, and in the end, it was Soul Fighter who told them what had happened. This time, even though Soul Fighter was very unwilling, he could only tell them everything about Chun Hao's abnormal and terrifying strength. When Fan Suishin heard that Chun Hao could manipulate the Manifestation Realm monsters to confuse them, and that he could make the peak of the late stage of the Manifestation Realm disciples unable to sense his concealment, his expression became extremely ugly. In particular, when the severely injured peak of the late stage of the Manifestation Realm disciple said that Chun Hao's attack power was so strong that even he would be injured if he faced it head-on, he was even more shocked. A half-step to the Manifestation Realm cultivator has such abnormal strength. Fan Suishin paced back and forth with a gloomy face. After a full half a minute, he suddenly looked at Soul Fighter and the others and said, if we didn't offend him at the beginning, it would have been fine. But now that things have come to this, we have to kill him at all costs. I'm afraid it's impossible here. Soul Fighter, take my token and find out everything about this kid. Whether you can kill him or not is also a test for you. I'll arrange 10 peak of the late stage of the manifestation realm for you. In addition, I'll give you the upper grade spirit treasure, Heavenly Eye. It's up to you how to do it. Thank you, Master. 8 days later, below the city wall, the monster tide within a few hundred miles had strengthened to the point that most of the monsters were at the peak of the late stage of the primordial soul realm or half step to the manifestation realm. There was at least one monster in the early stage of the manifestation realm for every 100 monsters. After 8 days of seclusion, the members of Proud Heavens finally began to hunt. During this time, Chun Shui had already gathered Huyan Aoba and the others. Accompanied by 2 immortal primes, she told them her idea. After hearing the news, everyone's expression was solemn, but they all agreed without hesitation. They were not stupid. After this life and death crisis and the conflict with the limitless demon palace, they had already realized that they were not on the same level as Chun Hao. Although their realms were almost the same, the difference in their combat strength was too great. If they continued to follow Chun Hao, as Immortal Yun Wei said, they would be in danger. They might be able to survive this time, but what about the next time? Moreover, the reason they were able to advance in this crisis was not because of Soul Fighter and the others, but because of the powerful monster horde. The battle between Soul Fighter and the others and Chun Hao was completely beyond their level. They did not even have the right to participate. How could they improve? Fortunately, Chun Hao blocked it, and he blocked Chun Hao in a dangerous situation. If it were not for them, Chun Hao would definitely be able to escape easily. There was no doubt about that. This was also the most important thing. They would be a burden to Chun Hao. The endless wilderness was filled with an ancient and desolate aura. There were endless mountain peaks and overgrown old forests. It was so quiet that it was a little scary. Looking from afar, on many mountain peaks, one could see abandoned and dilapidated ancient palaces. These palaces were extremely large. Although they were dilapidated and had been there for tens of thousands of years, they still exuded the grandeur and vastness of the past. This was the area left behind by the ancient sects in the central continent. In addition to the foreign monsters and ancient fierce beasts, there were also countless broken mechanisms and restrictions here. Some had lost their power, but some still had a trace of function. But it was these remaining mechanisms and restrictions that made this area, with a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles, one of the most dangerous places in the central continent. Only cultivators above the creation realm dared to step in. Whoosh, a gust of wind blew, and the weeds on the mountainside that were taller than a person bent down, revealing the figure of a young man. The young man had a handsome face that could make women's hearts beat and men jealous. At this moment, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and his pitch-black eyes were full of ridicule as he stared into the distance. His clothes were full of holes and dried bloodstains. Just by looking at this, it was clear that this young man had experienced a fierce battle. But what was strange was that through the tattered clothes, the exposed skin of the young man was sparkling like jade, without the slightest trace of a wound. This young man was Chun Hao, 25 people at the peak of the advanced stage of the creation realm. They really think highly of me. Chun Hao's eyes flashed with a hint of fierceness as he thought to himself. Whoosh! Another gust of wind blew, and Chun Hao's entire body instantly blended into the gust of wind, leaving no trace behind. Over there, chase! Hiss, hiss, hiss! The moment the young man disappeared, several figures quickly appeared in the air. One of the young men's cultivation was obviously the weakest. He was only at the peak of the initial stage of the creation realm, but he was surrounded by a group of experts. It was obvious that he was the leader of the group. This young man was the chief disciple of the younger generation of the limitless demon palace's Heartbroken Hall, Soul Fighter. Everyone, restrain your aura. Surrounded by the group, Soul Fighter flew quickly. His eyes shone brightly as he locked onto a faintly discernible aura in front of him. This young man is really bold. He doesn't take us seriously at all. He knows that we won't let him go, but he still dares to come here. Isn't this what we want? The 2 celestial primes of the limitless celestial palace overestimated this young man. They took everyone away, but left this young man behind. Do they really think that this young man is a human immortal? Don't let your guard down. You haven't seen how abnormal this young man is. One of the experts at the peak of the advanced stage of the creation realm said cautiously. This person was the disciple who had almost been pierced through the heart by Chun Hao. 2 months ago, even if this young man fought with me directly, I would have been seriously injured if I wanted to kill him. Now, he has been in seclusion in Dian City for more than a month. Although he is still at the half step to the creation realm, I feel that his combat strength has definitely improved tremendously, and what? I feel that he has something to rely on. Is it possible? He is only so bold because of his concealment technique. Unfortunately, with the upper-grade spiritual treasure that my master gave me, it is impossible for him to escape my senses, Soul Fighter said. At this moment, not only did he have the upper-grade spiritual treasure, Heavenly Eye, which could see through concealment techniques, he also had the upper-grade spiritual treasure, Mortal Dust, which could conceal one's aura. As for the other 25 people, they were all at the peak of the advanced stage of the creation realm. Therefore, he believed that as long as they concealed their auras, Chun Hao would never discover their existence. Even if they were within 100 miles of Chun Hao, it would not be a problem. Under the sharing of God's eye, everyone could also sense Chun Hao's aura. These abandoned palaces are the remains of the ancient sect that has existed for hundreds of thousands of years. Hiss! A cool breeze blew past, and Chun Hao's figure appeared on top of the mountain. He stared at the dilapidated palaces in front of him and said with a hint of excitement in his eyes, Celestial Venerable Han Mei and Celestial Venerable Yun Wei had suggested that Chun Hao come to the remains of the ancient sect. 2 months ago, when they were at the 160th supply station in Great Yin City, Chun Hao and the others were unable to resist the beast tide as the intensity of the beast tide increased. At the request of the 2 celestial venerables, he separated from the rest. Hui and Albua and the others had gone to the Wuji Palace. Chun Hao stayed in the Alliance Cultivation Hall in Great Yin City and cultivated in seclusion for 1.5 months. After making sufficient preparations, he stepped out of Great Yin City. He came directly here. At this moment, Chun Hao's aura was still at the half step to creation realm. Judging from his aura alone, he had not improved much compared to 2 months ago. However, if a cultivator below the man-god stage wanted to kill him, it would be harder than ascending to the heavens. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 440. This is it. Once I get rid of these guys, it will be time for me to go to the Wuji Immortal Palace. Aren't they just some creation realm cultivators? Chun Hao promised the 2 celestial primes, but they didn't know that Chun Hao had only agreed temporarily. Who said that geniuses were destined to be lonely? He didn't believe in heresy, and he was confident that he could lead everyone to become stronger. Of course, the source of this confidence was his fusion with the old god. Before the fusion was completed, Chun Hao was afraid that he would have to listen to the 2 celestial primes' advice. Now, it was time for Chun Hao to prove himself. Chun Hao calmly landed on the huge platform in front of the dilapidated palace. This platform had a radius of 100 miles. Although it was bumpy and even covered with weeds, it still exuded the glory and atmosphere of the past. In the center was a golden palace that was incompatible with the ancient aura of the platform. Above the entrance of the palace, there was a huge plaque with the words, Alliance Ancient Sect Ruins Number 93 written on it. On the right side of the door, there was a huge stone tablet that introduced the situation in the ruins in detail. I hope this kid is qualified to enter. After Chun Hao stepped into the newly built palace, several figures came to the entrance of the palace as fast as lightning. However, they still hid their auras. Although there were countless opportunities to attack, they didn't dare to act rashly because they didn't have the confidence to kill him in one blow. Moreover, Chun Hao's boldness made them suspect that the 2 celestial primes deliberately let him mislead them. But now, as long as Chun Hao could enter the ancient sect ruins, they had nothing to worry about. Experts above the human celestial realm were absolutely unable to enter the ancient sect ruins number 93. Only cultivators below the creation realm could enter. After entering, the space was filled with a large number of ancient beasts and array mechanisms. As long as one was strong enough, one could enter the various cultivation holy lands left behind by the ancient sections. These holy lands, after hundreds of thousands of years, could still be preserved, which was enough to prove their strength. Moreover, those with great luck and opportunity had a high chance of obtaining inherited magic treasures and unique skills. The ancient sect ruins number 93 was discovered by the Alliance and was protected by the Alliance. It opened once a year at a fixed time. If one wanted to enter, they had to pay a sufficient fee, and their strength also had to meet the entry requirements. Once a cultivator entered, they would be blocked by the aura of the relic and lose all contact with the outside world. Whether he lived or died would depend on his own strength. Definitely, 2 months ago, his attack power was not much weaker than someone at the peak of the late stage of the Blessed Realm. He must be even stronger now, said the cultivator who had been severely injured by Chun Hao. Let's get ready. Once he goes in, we won't have any scruples. Mo Wu Xian's face flashed with a trace of coldness and excitement as he said, Half-step to Blessed Realm? Little brother, did you make a mistake? Ruin Site 93 is only suitable for cultivators in the middle or later stage of the Blessed Realm to train. When Chun Hao stepped in the Alliance Palace, several Alliance staff members sensed Chun Hao's aura, and one of them said kindly, That's right, I want to come here. Please help me with the procedures. It seems like there's only an hour left to enter. Chun Hao said with a smile, You have to think carefully. If you can't pass the entry qualification test, the fee you paid will not be refunded. The old man reminded him again. Here are 5 million high-grade primal crystal stones. Chun Hao did not say anything else and directly handed his guardian token and a storage ring to the old man. All right. The old man shook his head and said. Everyone looked at Chun Hao and already thought of him as a hedonistic disciple of a large faction. However, beep. Chun Hao. When the old man took Chun Hao's guardian token and registered, he was surprised when he saw Chun Hao's information and looked at Chun Hao. What's wrong, senior? Chun Hao was slightly puzzled. No, nothing. Welcome to our number 93 historical site. Your identity has been confirmed. You can enter for free. Brother Chun, please go in. Good luck. As the old man spoke, a door made of unknown material and covered with mysterious runes opened with a rumble. He smiled and made an inviting gesture to Chun Hao. Free? There's no need to test. Your guardian's information shows that your combat power is level 9. There's no need to test. Moreover, you are an elite guardian specially approved by the Alliance headquarters. In the future, any activity within the Alliance's sphere of influence will be free. The Alliance will provide you with all the best conditions. Ahem. Chun Hao looked at the old man who became unusually respectful in front of him strangely. Senior, what's going on? I seem to be just an ordinary level 4 guardian. What do you mean by level 9 combat power? What does elite guardian mean? Haha, this is a special situation. Only after being recommended by an expert in the Alliance and approved by the Alliance headquarters can you obtain this special honor. Wait a moment, I'll check for you. The old man said as he sent out a stream of energy into the token again. After a while, the old man raised his head and looked at Chun Hao. No wonder you didn't know. The Alliance headquarters approved it 4 hours ago. Brother Chun, you were recommended to the Alliance headquarters by Dian City. Level 9 combat power has nothing to do with one's realm. It's a level evaluation to prove one's ability to challenge someone of a higher realm. Level 9 means that you have the ability to challenge a genius disciple in the late stage of the manifestation realm. This is quite a high level. Anyone who reaches level 9 combat power will become an elite guardian of the Alliance and receive special care from the Alliance. This is because you might be the top expert in the entire boundless world in the future. Brother Chun, don't you know that someone recommended you? This, I know now. Thank you, Senior. You're welcome. Please go in. Brother Chun, be careful. Once you go in, you can only come out after 3 months. Ancient beasts, mechanisms, restrictions, and cultivators who enter, you have to be careful. Understood. Senior Meng Yichong is really generous. This has helped me save 5 million high-grade primal crystal stones. In the future, it will be free in the Alliance. How much should I save? Although Chun Hao had stones of inestimable value, he did not exchange them for primal crystal stones. How could he be happy if it was free? Shaking his head, Chun Hao cast aside the distracting thoughts in his mind and looked at the long and narrow passage in front of him. This was a circular passageway that was covered in profound talisman markings and restrictions. At the end of the passageway, a milky white light flickered. Shockingly, it was a teleportation door. As soon as he stepped in, Chun Hao appeared in a hall that was constantly buzzing. Half-step to Manifestation Realm? TSK, TSK. I wonder which great faction's monstrous genius is this? The moment he appeared, Chun Hao attracted the attention of many people who were waiting for the ruins to open. The ancient sect ruins opened on this day every year, and it would only open for a few minutes. Therefore, cultivators who wanted to enter the ruins could go through the Alliance 2 days in advance and wait in this hall for the ruins to open. At this moment, there was only an hour before the ruins opened. Almost all the cultivators who wanted to enter the ruins had arrived, and there were as many as 500 people. Although it might be a hindrance to rope him in, it's not bad to be able to make friends with such a person. Immediately, many of the experts who had formed a pair began to move closer to Chun Hao. Everyone knew that to be qualified to enter at half-step to Manifestation Realm, one's combat strength and talent must be very high. In particular, Chun Hao's life aura was very young. Even if his current strength was slightly weaker, it would be good to be able to make friends with such a genius. Unfortunately, several olive branches extended, including beautiful women, were all rejected by Chun Hao with a smile. Seeing that Chun Hao had no intention of forming a group, the others did not try anymore. Chun Hao also sat down cross-legged and slowly closed his eyes, waiting for the group of idiots who thought they had hidden well to appear. Brother, I'm Xiang Tian Xiao, a disciple of Wuji Immortal Palace. How should I address you? Chun Hao did not expect that there would still be someone who did not give up and came up to him. The person who came was only at the initial stage of the Manifestation Realm, but he was very young. At best, he was about the same age as Chun Hao. He was definitely not older than 1 year old. Moreover, with Chun Hao's sharp soul perception, he could clearly feel that the young man's body contained a majestic and terrifying energy, which surprised Chun Hao slightly. Chun Hao, sorry, I'm used to training by myself, Chun Hao had to say again. Haha, me too. I wonder which force Brother Chun is from. When Xiang Tian Xiao heard Chun Hao's name, he thought for a moment. It was obvious that he had never heard of this name in his memory, which made him feel a little strange. How could he not know such a young, monstrous genius with such combat strength and talent? I can barely be considered a disciple of Wuji Immortal Palace. After I leave here, I should be... Chun Hao said with a faint smile. Oh, there's such a thing? With Brother Chin's talent and combat strength, how can you only barely be considered a disciple? I don't like restrictions. I said this because my cultivation partners are all disciples of Wuji Immortal Palace. Chun Hao said, Amazing. I wonder what Brother Chin's cultivation partners are called. Maybe I know them. When I join Wuji Immortal Palace, you'll naturally know. We'll talk again if there's a chance. You'd better stay away from me so that you don't get into trouble. Chun Hao suddenly said through voice transmission. After he finished speaking, he closed his eyes and ignored Xiang Tian Xiao. Xiang Tian Xiao was slightly stunned. At that moment, ripples came from the teleportation door at the entrance of the hall, and figures suddenly appeared in front of everyone. What surprised everyone was that in a moment, 25 experts at the peak of the late stage of the Manifestation Realm and one at the peak of the initial stage of the Manifestation Realm entered. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 441. Why are people at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm here? Why are there so many of them? Many people were puzzled. There were more than 500 cultivators present, and most of them were at the late-stage manifestation realm. The late-stage manifestation realm cultivators were older and did not have good talent. The 93rd ancient sect relic was only suitable for a small number of early-stage manifestation realm super geniuses, as well as ordinary mid-stage and late-stage manifestation realm experts. It was not challenging for those at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm to train here. But when there was less than an hour before the relic opened, 24 people at the peak of the late-stage manifestation realm had come. Of course, everyone was surprised and unhappy. The area of the relic was small, and there were only a few ancient beasts, mechanisms, restrictions, and cultivation resources. If this was not seizing resources, then what was? When Soul Fighter and the others stepped into the hall, they all had arrogant expressions on their faces, as if they were superior people. Their gazes quickly swept across the crowd and quickly locked on a Chun Hao. They did not bother to hide the ridicule and provocation in their eyes. At this point, there was no turning back. In their eyes, Chun Hao was already a turtle in a jar, and there was no need to hide anything. Of course, this was not the time to provoke them. People from Limitless Demon Palace? Are they here for him? Xiang Tianxiao had already sat cross-legged beside Chen Hao. When Chen Hao stopped talking to him, he did not leave. He did not think that there was any trouble that could make him afraid. However, when he saw the 25 people who suddenly appeared, he was slightly surprised. From their gazes, he could tell that they were here for Chen Hao. What an arrogant guy. He knows that there are so many experts, and he still dares to come here. Could it be that he's not afraid of so many elites at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm? Xiang Tianxiao cast a subtle glance at Chen Hao, who had his eyes closed to rest, and he became even more curious. Junior brother, the guy beside that kid is Xiang Tianxiao from Limitless Immortal Palace. Xiang Tianxiao? Is he very powerful? He is indeed very powerful. 4 months ago, when Limitless Elite Academy was selecting disciples, I was lucky enough to get an entry ticket. And this Xiang Tianxiao, when he just entered the manifestation realm, he defeated countless geniuses at the peak of the early stage manifestation realm and entered the top 100 to become a disciple of Elite Academy. A disciple of the Elite Academy. When Soul Fighter Mo and the rest heard the words of this expert who was at the peak of the late stage of the manifestation stage, they were instantly shocked. The Everlasting Elite Academy was established by all the top experts of the Boundless Continent and was managed by the Alliance. It was a gathering place for all the monstrous geniuses of the Central Continent, regardless of their factions or races. Only Creation Realm cultivators who were at least 28 years old had the right to participate in the selection. Every year, only 100 people were allowed to participate, but the number of cultivators who participated in the selection was in the hundreds of thousands. Once one became a disciple of the Elite Academy, one would receive the highest level of training in the Alliance and would also become the target of competition among the major powers in the Boundless Continent. Yeah, this Xiang Tianxiao is sitting together with that kid. Could it be that the two of them know each other? If Xiang Tianxiao interferes, then we'll be in trouble. What was there to be afraid of? Master has already submitted my information. Next year, I will definitely become a disciple of the Elite Academy. From the looks of it, they don't seem to be related. Let's not provoke him. If you want to stop us, then don't blame us for not giving you face. You don't have to worry about this. All right, then everyone, ruin number 93 is about to open. Please get ready. After half an hour, an old man's voice rang out in the hall. The cultivators who were sitting cross-legged in the hall took a deep breath and stood up. The trial in ruin number 93 will last for 3 months. This ruin is a trial ground for the disciples of the ancient sections. When the time limit is reached, you will automatically step out. I hope that everyone will be able to reap great rewards. Please act according to your abilities. The most important thing is to come out alive. Please get ready. It will open now. Hiss, 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 hiss. The moment the old man finished speaking, rays of light suddenly shone from the ground of the hall and enveloped everyone. Some of the disciples who had entered in groups huddled together. Mo Wuching and the rest were no exception. However, they were divided into 6 groups. 4 of them were at the peak of the late stage of the creation realm. Soul Fighter was in a group with the strongest 4. Moreover, at this moment, their gazes were on Chun Hao and Xiang Tianxiao. When they saw that the 2 of them did not join forces, they heaved a sigh of relief. It was not that they were afraid of Xiang Tianxiao's strength. After all, although Xiang Tianxiao was a monster, he was only at the beginning stage of the creation realm. Compared to Chun Hao, who was an absolute monster, he was definitely not much stronger. However, his identity made Soul Fighter and the rest not dare to kill him. Every disciple of the Elite Academy was protected by the Alliance. If Xiang Tianxiao helped Chun Hao, they would be in trouble. This was because the disciples of the Elite Academy received the highest level of protection from the Alliance. Even if they were in the ruin and no information would be leaked, they would not dare to kill Xiang Tianxiao, even if they were given 10 guts. The moment everyone disappeared, Chun Hao frowned slightly and looked at Xiang Tianxiao. Hee, Brother Chun, I love to join in the fun. I was just watching, Xiang Tianxiao said telepathically. Sorry, Brother Xiang. I don't want to be watched. Moreover, you don't have to get involved in this mess, Chun Hao said telepathically. At the same time, he cut off Xiang Tianxiao's mental lock. Chun Hao was clear that if Xiang Tianxiao's mental lock was activated, they would definitely be teleported to a nearby location. Although he could feel that this guy had no ill intentions and even had the intention to help him, Chun Hao still rejected him. Hiss! Immediately, the cultivators in the hall disappeared at the same time. In a short moment, Chun Hao appeared in the ruin. Underground city? Chun Hao looked at the scene in front of him and said in surprise. For any ruin, every time it was opened, the scene one would encounter would not be the same. Ruin number 93 had been discovered for hundreds of years. According to the summary of the cultivators who had entered, there were a total of 36 scenes. There was no pattern to what kind of scene would appear every year. Very good. This maze is even more suitable for playing hide-and-seek. Chun Hao stared at the 2 dark tunnels that appeared in front of him. Under the torch-like light in the tunnel, he revealed a devilish smile. He spread out his powerful soul perception and stepped directly into the tunnel. The ancient beasts here are all treasures. Their tendons, bones, skin, horns, blood, and inner cores are all invaluable, especially to the cultivators of the Demon Tao. Chun Hao said, according to the information, this ruin has existed for hundreds of thousands of years, but it's still operating normally. It's fine if the holy land of cultivation can be maintained as long as there's a formation that's powerful enough to condense a spiritual artifact of heaven and earth. However, the ancient beasts can also be killed endlessly. It's obvious that there's new replenishment every year. It's too powerful. Old God, how powerful is the mighty person who condensed this ancient sect ruin? I don't know how powerful he is, but don't think that no one is in control of ancient ruins. Basically, all ancient ruins are under the control of ancient mighty people. These people are either the top experts from the boundless land or the mighty people from more powerful planes. They take care of you from the boundless land, and a very small number of them are there to select disciples. However, only those ruins that require at least the celestial immortal realm to enter are possible. In short, as long as you enter the ruins, your situation will be known to the master of the ruins. Your current realm is too low, so it's useless to know this. Old God said, the blood essence of ancient beasts is quite good. You can collect more. Okay. Chun Hao extended his perception into the depths of the tunnel. The terrifying pressure and the thick aura of ancient beasts became stronger and stronger. Chun Hao's mind was in high alert as he carefully observed his surroundings. Since this ruin was a training ground of an ancient sect, there must be all kinds of dangers. No one dared to be careless. Chi, 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 chi. Break for me. Boom, boom, boom. Without any warning, 6 incomparably sharp attacks suddenly shot out from the top, bottom, left, right, front, and back of the tunnel. Even Chun Hao was shocked. However, his sharp senses and powerful reaction speed allowed him to throw out 6 punches in an instant. His body also twisted strangely, avoiding the destructive energy of the explosion at close range. Immediately after, 6 paths appeared, with only a few tenths of a second between them, causing Chun-Hao to fall into a tense battle. 5 minutes later, phew. No wonder only those in Blessed Realm are allowed to enter. Even little Snow would be injured if she ran into the first stage. If one's reaction speed, attack power, and body movement are weak in any of these areas, they won't be able to pass. Of course, those with powerful physical bodies and monstrous defense are exceptions. But only those at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm can do that. Chun-Hao relied on his powerful reaction speed, movement technique, and attacks that surpassed his own realm to pass through the first checkpoint without any injuries. However, it wasn't easy for him to do this. In just 5 minutes, his forehead was covered with sparkling and translucent beads of sweat. This wasn't because he was tired, but because he was so nervous that he broke out in a cold sweat. Damn, he's so strong. If I was alone, I would definitely be injured. At the same time, quite a number of cultivators who had formed a pair in another tunnel were shocked. Damn it, I heard that the underground city is the strongest training ground in Ruins number 93. It must be because of the 20 or so elites at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm who entered in the end. That should be the case. The training grounds in the Ruins are closely related to the strength of the cultivators who enter. This is good, because it'll be more challenging for us. Let's go, we'll speed up and try to pass as soon as possible so that we can snatch a better holy land for cultivation. All right, there's still 35 stages. Let's hurry. We can't let that brat get there first. Don't worry, junior brother Wuxin. What we need to worry about is whether that brat will succeed. No matter how monstrous he is, he's only half a step into Blessed Realm. That's right. He'll definitely die this time. If he doesn't succeed, he'll die. If he succeeds, he'll have to face us. It'll be fine as long as we don't let him snatch a holy land for cultivation. Of course, there's still a few stages later. If any of the 6 squads run into him, we'll be able to take him down. It'll be the safest. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 442. After he cleared the first stage, a tunnel appeared in front of Chun-Hao. It was connected horizontally, and he could not see the end of the tunnel to his left and right. Right in front of him were countless tunnels that were as black as ink. Even with Chun-Hao's extraordinary vision, he could not see anything. He could only see darkness. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Boom, 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 break. Hey, Right when Chun-Hao appeared at the intersection and took a short break to adjust his breathing, the sounds of cultivators fighting and shouting came from both sides. Some of them were near, and some of them were far away. Looks like I'm quite fast. I'll continue going deeper. Hiss! Chun-Hao took a step forward and entered the closest dark tunnel. Sizzle, sizzle. When Chun-Hao stepped into the dark tunnel and moved 1,000 feet forward with his senses, faint sounds of air being torn suddenly came from behind and in front of him. Balls of dark blue light that looked like willow, the wisps were like dark blue water droplets that fell from the air. They were in groups of 2, and they slowly grew larger. Soon, there were 4 groups in front and behind him. The eyes of ancient beasts. How amazing! Even with my senses, I can't sense any ancient beast's auras. Boom! Chun-Hao circulated his true origin in a frenzy. Roar, bang, 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 bang. 8 huge beasts with eyes that looked like bronze bells shone with a dark blue light. They roared and charged at Chun-Hao. At that moment, the terrifying ancient beast's auras spread out fearlessly, and the entire tunnel trembled violently. 8 of them at the middle stage of Blessed Realm. 4 of them at the front and back, and they want to surround and attack me? Charge! Bang! Boom! Chun-Hao stomped on the ground, and a loud bang rose from beneath his feet. He charged at the 4 ancient beasts in front of him like a cannonball. At the same time, he swung his left hand and executed a dragon-subduing palm that was filled with extreme yang energy to stop the beast behind him from getting closer. With his right hand, he raised his sword and charged forward. Open! Chun Hao's pupils constricted. His wrist streaked across the air, and in the blink of an eye, he sent out several sharp sword lights that illuminated the entire passage. The sword lights contained a mysterious and condensed power, and they seemed to attack the four monsters indiscriminately. However, when the sword lights approached the monsters, they suddenly merged into one and completely condensed on the body of a ferocious beast. Roar! Boom, 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 die! Chi! At this moment, Chun Hao raised his speed to the peak. With a terrifying speed, he became one with his sword and rushed towards the beast that he was focusing his firepower on. Puff! A dull explosive sound burst out from the middle of the beast's blue eyes that were as bright as lamps. Chun Hao had already broken through the encirclement of the beasts. At this moment, as long as Chun Hao rushed forward without stopping, he would have passed this hurdle. However, Chun Hao did not do that. Instead, he turned around and brandished his sword. With a posture of one man holding back 10,000 men, he blasted out sword after sword. His body bloomed with mysterious light, and he quickly dodged the attacks of the beasts within a small range. 5 minutes later, the ferocious ancient beasts were killed by Chun Hao one by one. The strength of these ancient beasts is only 20% stronger than the same level of extraterrestrial monsters, but their value is much higher. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Chun Hao sent out waves of energy and directly collected the 8 beasts into his mind. If someone saw this scene, they would definitely be astonished. After all, even though the ancient ferocious beasts were full of treasures, their huge bodies still took up the most space. A single one of them was 30 feet tall and 30 feet thick. No one would directly collect them because that would be too much of a waste of space. Moreover, the blood and other materials needed to be processed in time to preserve their effects. However, Chun Hao collected them all in one go. There was no other way. After he merged with the old god this time, the space in his mind had increased by 10 times. The space that was originally filled with the spirit spring and the stones in the origin space now occupied less than 1/10 of the space. 8 huge beasts would not be obvious even if they were thrown in. As for the processing of the materials, it was naturally left to the 5 divine beasts who could transform into clones. Quickly process it. With the blood of these ancient beasts, our physical bodies can be strengthened a lot. I was right? We can now double the entrance fee of 5 million upper-grade primordial crystal stones. This is the value of the blood alone. When Chun Hao walked out of the passage, another horizontal passage appeared in front of him. Not far away, the cultivators' excited voices could be heard. Clearly, their killing speed was faster than Chun Hao's. As long as a cultivator soaks in the blood of the ancient beasts, their physical bodies will be able to absorb the essence in it and transform and strengthen. Not only are there no side effects, but there is also a possibility of awakening the power of the ancient bloodline. If we are lucky enough to awaken it, we will make a fortune. Yes, but the probability is too low. It is better to sell it to the cultivators of the demon clan. These will be more effective for them. The cultivators of the demon clan can directly swallow the inner core of the ancient beasts, and it is possible to obtain the power of inheritance. Why sell it? We are not short of money. As long as it can increase our strength, we will use it ourselves. Listening to the discussion from afar, Chun Hao adjusted his breathing for a moment and began to break through the levels again. Of the 36 levels, Chun Hao relied on his abnormal recovery ability to break through 12 in one go. Finally, he did not dare to continue. I only have 30% of my primordial crystal stones left. If those guys were not here, I could continue, but now I have to be careful. Chun Hao shrank into the passage, set up a simple miniature array, and directly entered a state of cultivation to recover. This was the flaw of being a lone wolf. Without teammates, in this sort of situation, he had to be careful even when recovering. Chun Hao's speed in breaking through the levels was not slow, but when he sensed the cultivators at every intersection, he understood that his speed was only about the same as that of a normal team. As for Soul Fighter's team, they were definitely much faster than him. After all, aside from Soul Fighter, they were all elites at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm. There was basically no challenge for such elites in the ruins. Their speed in breaking through the levels would definitely be like a hot knife cutting through butter. Where are you? Soul Fighter and the 5 elites appeared at the intersection at the same time. When they saw that the next level had turned into a hall that stretched as far as the eye could see, Soul Fighter sent a message through a communication talisman. In the ruins, the aura of the ruins blocked the Protector's communication devices and spirit channeling mirrors. Not only were they unable to contact the outside world, they were also unable to communicate with each other. This was because the Protector's communication devices and spirit channeling mirrors needed the support of the mysterious array that the Alliance had set up in the entire Middle Continent. It was just like the cell phone signal on Earth. There was no signal in the ruins. The only thing they could rely on was the communication talisman that allowed them to communicate with each other. We're about to reach the 14th level. The other 5 teams quickly sent messages to them. The 14th level is a test of the gravitational field and mighty pressure. All the cultivators will be in the same hall. 5th and 6th teams stay behind. Once you enter, slow down. If the brat is not too far away, then if you are confident, take him down. Don't wait for too long. If you don't find him in 2 hours, then quickly break through the level. All right, the 14th level might be in the same hall, but it was a ring-shaped space that surrounded the entire underground city. No one could be certain where Chun Hao would appear. Besides, under the dual effects of the gravitational field and mighty pressure, if they were slightly further away, they would need to spend a lot of time to get close to Chun Hao. They could only rely on their luck. With our speed, we might not be able to wait for the brat in 2 hours. He's just one person, so he must have used up a lot of energy. It'll be good if he can reach the 8th level. Besides, he might be cultivating to recover. One of the cultivators in 6 teams said, "Not necessarily. You don't know how great the brat's endurance and tenacity are. It's hard to say if he's rested or not. Junior Brother Wuxin's 2 hours are quite reliable." Another cultivator said. This cultivator was the one who had almost been killed by Chun Hao. "TCH, I think you're traumatized by the brat. He's just half a step in a blessed realm. How could he be as terrifying as you say? Traumatized? You can say that. When you see how powerful he is, you'll understand whether I'm telling the truth." Break. Boom. A powerful sealed door exploded with a bang. Xiang Tianxiao, who was at the peak of the initial stage of Blessed Realm, easily passed through the 13th level without even using a weapon. And he only used one attack. What great power! It's Xiang Tianxiao. 6th team waited for 15 minutes at a spot that was a little closer to the entrance of the 14th level. Then, without any warning, a loud bang erupted from the blocked tunnel not far away. Debris flew into the air, and they saw Xiang Tianxiao's figure. He actually broke through with one attack. We attacked for 3 minutes before we broke through. The 4 elites of 6th team were shocked, and he cleared the level so quickly alone. Gravity and pressure test. Xiang Tianxiao looked through the door in front of him. Once he saw the incredibly large space, he quickly looked around. As expected, he's waiting. The chances of running into him in such a large space are very small, right? Thank goodness it's me. If Chun Hao ran into him, those guys would be so smug, Xiang Tianxiao thought. I should recover and see if there's a good show. Xiang Tianxiao stepped into the hall and went a little further in. He sat down cross-legged at the edge of the gravity field and the pressure. As he recovered, he sensed the situation around him. Attack and endurance test? In a short 15 minutes, Chun Hao recovered to his peak condition with the help of the spirit spring refined by the old god. He went straight to the 13th level, and no traps or ancient beasts appeared even when he reached the end of the tunnel. Once he saw the blocked tunnel in front of him, he understood what the test was. The thing blocking the tunnel was an icy blue crystal in the shape of a human skeleton. A profound presence enveloped the human-shaped crystal. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to Conceited. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 443. Bang! He struck with his palm, and the human-shaped skeleton crystal trembled violently. Chunhao's body also swayed. As expected, the stronger my attack is, the stronger the rebound will be. If my attack is unable to reach the limit of what this crystal skeleton can withstand, it will take a long time to destroy it bit by bit. If my attack exceeds the limit, it will shatter. This thing is not bad, but it's a pity that I can't take it away. Break. Bang. Boom. Chunhao struck with his palm, and the human-shaped skeleton instantly exploded. Chunhao's body only swayed a little before he stepped out of the tunnel. When he saw the boundless hall in the 14th stage, Chunhao's eyes immediately shone brightly. Are you waiting for me? It's that brat. The instant Chunhao stepped into the test hall for both gravity and mighty pressure, Chunhao and the four elites at the peak of the later stage of Blessed Realm saw each other almost at the same time, even though they were 10,000 feet apart. Ha! What good luck. Want to run? Die. Chi. 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 At that moment, the four people instantly charged at Chunhao excitedly and attacked at the same time. It was only 10,000 feet away, and with their strength, they could close the distance in an instant. Furthermore, the 10,000 feet area was also within their attack range. Bang! Bang! Two fierce rays of light shone in Chunhao's eyes. He stepped into the area enveloped by the gravity field and pressure. He ignored the attacks from the four people who were 10,000 feet away and left them behind with his lightning-fast speed. Your speed is not bad, but it's not enough. If you obediently let yourself be captured, maybe Junior Brother Wu will give you a slightly better way to die. Lock. Hiss. Hiss. When the four people attacked from the distance, they were already several thousand feet away. Their strength at the peak of late-stage Blessed Realm did not affect them much at the edge of the area. When they saw that Chunhao easily avoided their attacks, they were not surprised. At that moment, they worked together and sent out four gigantic hands that reached the sky. They charged at Chunhao with a howl. With just the four of you? Chi. Chunhao's speed was already very fast, and the moment the four hands arrived, his speed doubled as he charged into the depths. At this moment, the four of them frowned slightly. They thought that Chunhao must have used his maximum speed in his panic. They didn't expect him to double his speed. Even if they could control the giant hand, they wouldn't be able to lock on at Chunhao. Let's catch up to him first. It seems that this brat is indeed difficult to deal with. It's not possible to take him down from a distance, the leader ordered. With one fleeing, the other four gave chase. They were all as fast as lightning. As they went deeper, the gravitational field and pressure became stronger and stronger. The five of them also felt more and more restricted. However, seeing that they were getting closer and closer to Chunhao, the four of them gradually became excited. But every time Chunhao reached a distance of 1,500 feet, it was as if he had broken through his limit. He suddenly accelerated again, causing the distance between them to close at an extremely slow speed. 600 times the gravity field, but this kid can still maintain his speed. In just 3 minutes, the terrifying pressure and gravity field made it difficult for the four of them. However, Chunhao's half-step manifestation speed did not slow down in the slightest. This made the four of them look a little embarrassed. If this continued, Chunhao would probably rush out of the checkpoint in less than 10 minutes. Fortunately, in less than a minute, Chunhao seemed to be struggling, and his speed had clearly decreased by a lot. It's already very shocking for a half-step to manifestation to have such speed, but you're still a half-step to manifestation. Hiss, 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 hiss. The four of them pushed their speed to the limit in one go and closed in on Chunhao as fast as lightning. For 1,000 feet, 3,000 feet, 2,000 feet, just when the four of them felt that they could definitely capture Meng Chao and were about to attack. Get lost. A cold shout suddenly burst out of Chunhao's mouth. He was charging forward as if he was running for his life, but he didn't even turn his head. He swung his sword and spun behind him. Chi! A sword light that was like a waterfall seemed to tear through the air. It was extremely fast and condensed, causing the four experts at the peak of the late stage of the blessed realm to feel their hair stand on end. They launched their own attacks in a frenzy. Boom, boom. This brat is indeed troublesome. Don't underestimate him. We can't capture him alive. Kill him. The four of them launched four attacks at the same time and canceled out Chun Hao's sword light. While they were shocked, they were also furious. Their expressions turned solemn. In the blink of an eye, they surrounded Chun Hao from four directions. Their fighting spirit and energy rose madly. Split. Hiss. Hiss. In the blink of an eye, Chun Hao split into four. For figures, four sword lights, and all of them became one with their swords. What was even more shocking was that each of the clones shone with a dazzling light. The red light was like fire, the blue light was like ice, the gold light was like the scorching sun, and the green light was like jade. The four different colors of light illuminated a circular area of 10,000 feet, causing the four-peak late-stage manifestation realm experts to feel their hearts tremble at that moment. Fast. No one could describe how fast the four clones attacked when they became one with their swords. At the very least, the four people could clearly feel the threat of death looming over them. However, what they did not know was that from a bystander's point of view, Chun Hao's four clones were not very fast. At most, they were the fastest strike of a martial artist in the later stage of Blessed Realm. But thud, 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 thud. The four people did not even have time to react before the sharp swords pierced through their heads. A bunch of trash. Their eyes widened when they saw Chun Hao take their storage rings and heard Chun Hao's disdainful words, but they could no longer retaliate. They actually died just like that? They did not even have time to inform the others before they died? So strong, so abnormal. It was clearly not very fast. How could they not react in time? Sword Dao will, if I'm not wrong, it should be an extremely rare Sword Dao, the ethereal Sword Dao. It seems fast, but is actually slow. It seems slow, but is actually fast. His opponents can't sense the true speed of his sword at all, and their minds are also affected by his Sword Dao will. Ethereal Sword Dao. Yes, people who can comprehend this Sword Dao have extremely strong soul strength. After reaching the immortal Venerate realm, soul strength is the most important thing. The stronger the soul, the higher one's future achievements. Coincidentally, the team that had just stepped into the 14th checkpoint was also extremely powerful. When they saw the battle between Chun Hao and the four people, they were all extremely shocked. This guy is so powerful. He's only at the half step to the creation realm, and he's already so strong. What will happen when he steps into the creation realm? Not all of them are like this. Didn't you see what his four doppelgangers were wearing? They're all spiritual treasure sets. Moreover, they're definitely middle-grade spiritual treasures or above. This guy must be from a super powerful force behind him, and he must be someone that they're fully nurturing. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to have so many spiritual treasures. Let's go. This kind of person is beyond our imagination. I'm afraid only the top geniuses of the Wuji Immortal Palace, the Devil Palace, and the Monster Palace can compare to him. Phew! After Chun Hao plundered the belongings of the four people, he heaved a long sigh of relief. In less than a minute, 70% of my vital qi was consumed. Fortunately, there were only four of them. If there were a few more, I would have to run. Fortunately, I was prepared. During this period of time, after experiencing a life and death crisis, although Chun Hao did not break through to the creation realm, his understanding of the secular sword principle had made astonishing progress. It was not that his sword principle realm had increased, but that it had developed horizontally, and he had gained a new understanding of the ethereal sword principle. Of course, the most important thing was that Chun Hao had spent a month and a half to create a middle-grade spiritual treasure set for the doppelgangers condensed from the 5 divine beasts and the 5-element sword. With old God's guidance on the formation, what kind of power would it have? It would definitely be much more powerful than a single upper-grade spiritual treasure. However, the more powerful a spiritual treasure was, the more energy it would consume to activate it. Hiss! Without stopping for too long, Chunhao immediately began to break through the stages. The gravity field and pressure here posed no pressure to the abnormal Chunhao at all. It could be said that it was the easiest stage. He continued to break through the stages. Damn it! We waited for 2 hours in vain. It seems that he is quite far from us, or he hasn't reached this stage yet. Let's report to junior brother Wuxin. After waiting for 2 hours, the 4 experts in the 6th group still did not see Chunhao, so they could only choose to give up. Xiang Tian Xiao Bai, who was sitting cross-legged not far away, also waited for 2 hours but did not see anything interesting. When the 4 people began to break through the stages, he did not stay any longer. 5th group, what's the situation on your side? At the 23rd stage, Sol Wuxin received the report from the 6th group, but did not receive the report from the 5th group. He crushed the communication talisman and asked. Buzz, soon, the communication talisman vibrated. Sol Wuxin hurriedly read it. But then what? Sol Wuxin was so shocked that he almost jumped up and exclaimed, "They're all dead. It will be your turn soon." Chunhao's cold voice reverberated in Sol Wuxin's mind. Junior brother, what's wrong? The 4 experts immediately looked at Sol Wuxin and asked, "How is it possible? How is it possible?" Junior brother, dead. The 4 people in the 5th group are all dead. They were all killed by that kid. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. I already explained that the kid is very strong, so the 4 of them had to work together. How could they all be killed? How could they not even notify me? Sol Wuxin's expression was extremely ugly and pale. He was obviously frightened by Chunhao's cold voice and the results. Meanwhile, the other 4 experts also revealed shocked expressions. Although these 4 experts were the strongest among the team of 24, they weren't much stronger than the 4 experts from Group 5. And Chunhao, who was only half-step to the manifestation realm, could actually kill the 5th group without even notifying them. What did this mean? A chill shrouded the hearts of the 5 people, and they broke out in a cold sweat. Don't be scared out of your wits by me. That won't be fun. Chunhao, who was advancing rapidly under the gravitational field and pressure, frowned slightly as he thought to himself, full of evil charm. The communication talisman had sent a message. Whether he replied or not, the other party would know. Therefore, he might as well not hide anymore. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 444. It's still a mistake. If I had given them a chance to send a message, it would have been better. Now I'm afraid it won't be easy. Chunhao moved forward quickly. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. He had killed 4 people in an instant. What would Soul Fighter and the rest think? The 4 of them did not have any resistance in front of him and were killed in an instant. As long as Soul Fighter and the rest were not stupid, they would not divide their forces to deal with Chunhao. In other words, it was impossible for Chunhao to kill them one by one. It doesn't matter. If the enemy retreats, I will advance. If the enemy advances, I will retreat. No matter what, I have to play them to death. Let's go all out to break through the levels. I have to succeed before they do. After breaking through the 14th level, Chunhao used another quarter of an hour to recover his strength. Then he began to rush forward with all his strength. At this moment, he no longer held back. He was armed from head to toe. His whole body was shining with a 7-colored light. Anyone who saw him could tell that this guy was wearing a set of priceless mid-grade spirit treasures. What was more amazing was that this set of mid-grade spirit treasures could spit out a terrifying energy flow. It was a pure energy shockwave. It did not contain any mystery, but it increased his speed to a frightening degree. With such an abnormal equipment, the levels of this trial were almost useless to him. What was fast? At this moment, if other people saw Chunhao's speed, they would be ashamed to death. Quick, break through the levels as fast as possible. Except for the 5th group, which had been completely wiped out, the other 4 groups, especially the 6th group, were giving it their all. The 4 people of the 5th group had been killed in an instant. This had made everyone tremble with fear. not to mention intercepting Chun Hao halfway. They would be thankful if they did not meet him. Now, their only thought was to succeed in breaking through the levels in advance and find a place to hide in the ruins. Or they could meet up with Soul Fighter and the rest as soon as possible and form a fist. This was the only way to stop the monstrous Chun Hao. Brother Soul Fighter, I don't think this is safe. Since that kid has the ability to kill 4 people in an instant, if he gets serious, his speed will be faster than ours. If he waits for us at the exit with the strength of the 5 of us, then what should we do? The 36 checkpoints must be passed within 4 days. Otherwise, I will be sealed within. Don't tell me that I should just hide here and wait for death. What I'm trying to say is that when we reach the 36th checkpoint, we'll wait for a moment. Then, we'll split up into 5 teams and head out together. That's the safest way. Senior Brother Huang is right. Junior Brother Wuxin, that kid has already reached a level where we can't contend against him. This kind of person is definitely not someone we can kill. Listening to their conversation, Soul Fighter's expression turned extremely ugly. But now, even if he didn't want to admit it, he had to. In front of Chun Hao, he was nothing. Endless anger and also endless regret. If he had known this would happen, why would he have wanted to kill Chun Hao? Even the first time they clashed, it was actually just a sparring session. His men's deaths had nothing to do with Chun Hao. They had all died at the hands of monsters. If he had given up at that time, things would not have turned out this way. Unfortunately, he had twisted the truth and told Fan Suixin that Chun Hao had killed 17 of his junior brothers and sisters. Moreover, he had started a hunt for Chun Hao. I never thought that I, Soul Fighter, would be forced into such a corner. Moreover, it's someone whose level is lower than mine. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Who do they think they are? They're all trash, just trash. If I can reach the peak of the advanced stage of the Blessed Realm, that kid won't be able to be so arrogant. I have to reach the next level at all costs. Only by killing that kid can I get rid of all the hidden dangers. This is the only way. This is the only way. Soul Fighter seemed to have entered a state of madness. Junior Brother Wuxin, I understand. You're all afraid. I'm also afraid. Ha! I'm afraid. Let's do as you say. Senior Brother Huang, you inform them. Soul Fighter, who seemed to have gone mad, quickly calmed down. His words were self-deprecating and dispirited, but his eyes shone with determination and madness. He knew very well that in the cruel world of cultivation, no one would be merciful. If you wanted to kill someone, you had to be prepared to be killed. Even if he gave up now, how could Chun Hao let him go? He was the instigator, so he had to bear the brunt of Chun Hao's pursuit and revenge. Since he had already done it, there was no turning back. He could only move forward. Where are you all now? The disciple known as Senior Brother Huang took the communication talisman from Soul Fighter and sent a message to the other 4 teams. 34, 33, 35, 28. The 4 teams sent back messages one after another. The team at the 28th stage was the 6th team that had been waiting for Chun Hao for 2 hours. Everyone, don't go out after the 36th stage. Tell me first and wait for my signal before we go out together. That's the safest way. Remember to conceal your presence. Okay. After rushing out of the 36th stage, Chun Hao's powerful soul perception spread out. Now, it was time for him to kill. In this ruin, the communication talisman couldn't be located at all. In other words, it was impossible for the teams to meet up now. This was also Chun Hao's only chance to kill them. Once they met up, Chun Hao wasn't as strong as they thought. However, at this moment, when Chun Hao released his senses, a look of surprise appeared on his face as he looked straight ahead. A mysterious wave of energy, accompanied by a pressure that made Chun Hao feel a little shocked, condensed in the air in front of him in a radius of 30 meters. What surprised Chun Hao even more was that at this moment, the surrounding scenery changed, making him clearly feel that his essence, spirit, soul, and inner yuan were all locked in an instant. Such a terrifying feeling. Ever since Chun Hao received the secular sword principal inheritance in the Sky City, he had never experienced it again. What's going on? At this moment, Chun Hao's mind suddenly ran to the limit, and all the hair on his body stood on end. The mysterious wave in front of him was like a green smoke, shuttling through the void and slowly condensing into a shape. In an instant, an old man with an imposing appearance and the demeanor of a transcendent being appeared before Chun Hao. "Little guy, don't be nervous." His appearance was shocking and terrifying. Just his aura alone could kill Chun Hao. But what Chun Hao didn't expect was that after the old man's figure condensed into a shape, all the pressure disappeared in an instant. How is this a top expert? He was clearly an ordinary old man, so ordinary that he couldn't be any more ordinary. With Chun Hao's powerful soul perception, he couldn't sense any cultivation of this old man. Except for a little white hair and a ruddy complexion, his eyes were calm, and there was no sharpness to speak of. Where was the aura of an expert? Chun Hao didn't know that the moment the old man appeared, Old God had shrunk into the depths of Chun Hao's mind and sealed the entire space of Chun Hao's mind, not daring to reveal a trace of aura. "Senior, you are?" Chun Hao quickly calmed down from the shock and asked respectfully with cupped fists. "Old man is the owner of this relic." The old man looked at Chun Hao calmly and said, "I've condensed this relic for 10,000 years. 10,000 years? Didn't the information say that it's hundreds of thousands of years?" Chun Hao was puzzled, but he didn't ask. "Haha, your records estimate the time of the relic's existence based on the aura of the relic. In fact, it's just that the materials I use to condense this relic are relatively old. On the Wuji star, it's impossible to have a relic that can exist for hundreds of thousands of years. Why would someone with that kind of magical power be interested in a small planet like the Wuji star? Well, this is a trace of the old man's divine thought. You're the first person in 10,000 years to break the record of the 36 checkpoints set by the old man. Once someone breaks the record, the old man will appear. But I didn't expect you to rely on a spiritual treasure." Hearing the old man's words, Chun Hao scratched his head awkwardly. "Haha, don't be embarrassed. If you relied solely on a spiritual treasure, the old man might have killed you. You have to know, the old man spent a lot of effort to improve you. But you wasted the old man's effort in pursuit of speed. It's really disrespectful to the old man. There's a reason for this. Why don't you let me go through the trial again, old man? It won't be much slower." Chun Hao didn't feel the old man's malice, so he relaxed and said hurriedly, "There's no need." What the old man didn't expect was that you're only at the half step to creation realm. This can be considered heaven's will. Next, the old man will open the highest level of cultivation, holy land, in the remains for you. It's also the only time. Whether you can comprehend it or not will depend on your luck. "Thank you, senior." Chun Hao showed enough excitement and respect as he cupped his fists and bowed. "What's your name?" "Chun Hao. Chun Hao Go. I hope to see you again." Chi. As the old man spoke, he didn't give Chun Hao time to think, ask, or do anything. The old man disappeared and turned into a mysterious light that surrounded Chun Hao. In the blink of an eye, Chun Hao felt his thoughts stop for a moment before he regained consciousness. "I haven't dealt with those guys yet." Chun Hao wanted to say something, but it was too late. What kind of cultivation holy land is this? Gravity field? And it's so small? When Chun Hao saw the space in front of him, he frowned slightly and was extremely disappointed. When he heard the old man say that this was the most powerful holy land for cultivators in the remains, he was rather excited. No matter what, the spirit chi of heaven and earth should be unbelievably dense, right? It should be filled with all kinds of profound mysteries of the laws of heaven and earth, right? Or it should be filled with countless spirit objects of heaven and earth, precious mineral veins, or even awesome ultimate techniques. But now, this space was only 100 meters long and wide, and one could see through it with a single glance. The four walls, the ground, and the ceiling were all covered with mysterious runes that were similar to a gravitational field. In the middle stood a stone tablet that was less than 10 feet tall, covered with tiny words. Other than that, there was nothing else. The spirit chi of heaven and earth was no different from outside. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 445. Chun Hao's gaze locked onto the densely packed inscriptions, and his brows gradually furrowed. I don't recognize these words at all. The inscriptions were strangely shaped like tadpoles, but they weren't tadpole characters. Chun Hao didn't recognize them at all. However, just as his mind came into contact with the inscriptions, these densely packed little golden words suddenly came to life and turned into rays of golden light, shooting straight towards the space between Chun Hao's eyebrows. Boom! Within 100-meter radius of space, a mysterious power suddenly emerged and enveloped Chun Hao's body. A bang! Chun Hao, who clearly didn't release any power, suddenly shot up like lightning and simply couldn't react in time and became a mess in the wind, like rootless duckweed or like a fallen leaf in a whirlwind, scurrying about in the small space. Position, but it wasn't a gravitational field. It was a kind of position that changed 1,000 times in an instant without any pattern or direction to speak of. Art of 1,000 transformations. 5 large golden words appeared in Chun Hao's mind. Immediately, the densely packed tadpole characters turned into a voice that Chun Hao was familiar with, and the essence of the art of 1,000 transformations resounded in his mind. This is the space condensed by the art of 1,000 transformations. Once you step into this room, as time passes, the force will become stronger and stronger. Don't try to break open the secret room. Once you do, the entire space will explode, and even if you are a worldly immortal, your body and soul will be destroyed. This is the art of 1,000 transformations and its mysteries. As long as you can successfully comprehend and cultivate it, the secret room will automatically disappear. The time limit is 1 year. It will be activated for 11.5 hours every day. 1 hour is your time to rest and recover. If you can't comprehend it within a year, the secret room will explode and you will die here. Kid, work hard. Chun Hao wanted to stop his body, but no matter what, he couldn't do it. Because of the chaotic position, when Chun Hao thought that he had enough strength to resist the pulling force suddenly disappeared, and that feeling was like all his strength had hit empty air. It was always like this everywhere. Fuck, Chun Hao cursed. The information in the ruins was very clear. It was only 3 months. How did it become a year? Could it be that he had attracted the attention of the master of the ancient domain? However, Chun Hao knew that it was impossible to ask the owner of the ruins. This was because everything here had been left behind by the owner of the ruin in advance. Only what he had just seen was the owner of the ruin's spiritual sense. But Chun Hao only had 4 months. He made an appointment with Chun Shui, Helian Wuzi, Xia Yuyu, and Tantai Lian to return to the eastern continent in 4 months. The 3-year period that he had agreed upon with the sect was about to arrive. How could Chun Hao not be anxious? Especially after he had roughly looked through the mental cultivation method of the 1,000 transformations in his mind. He didn't feel anything at all. This also meant that if he wanted to comprehend it, it would definitely be extremely difficult. No matter how high his perception was, he couldn't be sure that he could comprehend it in 4 months. Moreover, the ruins would only be open for 3 months. Even if he could comprehend it in 4 months, if the entrance of the ruins wasn't open at that time, he wouldn't be able to leave. Damn, who would want this kind of cultivation method? The thing that I, your father, don't want the least is cultivation method. 3,000 great Daos are in your father's mind. Is there anything more awesome than this? What should I do? For the first time, Chun Hao was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. He wasn't afraid that he would be blown to smithereens if he couldn't comprehend it in a year, but he was afraid that if he couldn't meet the 4 girls in 4 months, what would they think? Especially that old guy didn't even give him a chance to catch his breath. He directly activated the 1,000 transformation space, making him like a headless fly, unable to stop at all. The swaying made him dizzy and nauseous. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. At this point, there's no way out. 3 months. I must successfully cultivate it in 3 months. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Although the 3,000 great Daos are powerful, with my current strength, I can only cultivate some superficial knowledge. The great 5 elements art, until now, I can only cultivate the platinum sky, splitting slash. This 1,000 transformations profound art is definitely a powerful cultivation method. Yes, a very powerful cultivation method. This is a good thing, isn't it? I should be happy. I should have a strong interest in it. Chunhao hypnotized himself in his heart. Comprehend. Comprehend. I need to comprehend it in the shortest time possible. If I succeed in cultivating it, this will be my domain. Anyone who fights with me, as long as their absolute power doesn't exceed mine by too much, will fall into my control. Under self-hypnosis, Chunhao's gloomy feelings were quickly swept away. And indeed, the more he thought about it, the more he realized that this kind of cultivation method had endless uses. This was a kind of mysterious power. It was driven by true essence, but the force used wasn't true essence. In front of the enemy, it couldn't be broken by true essence, unless the absolute power was too strong and exceeded the range of profound energy's control. Otherwise, once the profound energy field that could change according to what was condensed around the body, it could display endless uses. Just think about it. Just when you think you have enough speed, there is a sudden pulling force in the opposite direction, slowing you down. Or there's a sudden pushing force that makes you speed up. Or there's a lateral force that makes you change your direction. Wait, what does that mean? It meant that when you were dodging the attack, you couldn't be in position, you couldn't find the point of attack, and the best position to display your strength would be deviated. A difference of a few millimeters would lead to a difference of 1,000 miles. This was definitely the best way to win by surprise, and it could be a trump card. Huff! Chunhao took a deep breath, threw away all distracting thoughts, and allowed himself to drift and pull in the ever-changing profound energy field. His mind was completely integrated into the 1,000 transformations profound energy arts mental cultivation method, reciting and comprehending over and over again. It was cryptic and difficult to understand, and the owner of the remains didn't give any explanation. He could only rely on his own comprehension. However, what made Chunhao feel slightly relieved was that this mental cultivation method's incantation, compared to the main outline of the Great Way, was not at the same level. When he calmed down and started to comprehend, he quickly had a feeling, even though he only comprehended a little, but this had an extraordinary significance. At least he had taken the first step, and that was to be able to comprehend. Moreover, when Chunhao comprehended a little, he clearly felt a subtle connection with the profound energy field in the room, as if they complemented each other. The profound energy field, through the control of Chunhao's body, helped him to comprehend. Luckily, we didn't meet that brat. Everyone is safe. Junior, I think we should forget about this matter for the time being. With Junior's talent, at least you'll have a chance to raise your level in the future. We really can't do anything. Moreover, Junior will definitely be able to enter the Elite Academy next year. At that time, we'll pay a price and get to know a few real demonic characters. It shouldn't be a difficult thing to get rid of this brat. Soul Fighter's face was gloomy. When senior brother Huang spoke, he despised him and did not want to bother with him. However, the last sentence made Soul Fighter's eyes light up. Good idea. Why didn't I think of this? With my training speed, although there's hope that I can reach the peak of the late manifestation realm before he triggers the divine punishment to advance to the manifestation realm, the chances are not high. How long one can be stuck at the half-step manifestation realm varies from person to person. They might break through at any time and might not even dare to trigger the divine punishment for a few years. However, when I enter the Elite Academy next year, I can't think of a way to make a few real demonic geniuses become enemies with this brat. Soul Fighter's face revealed a sinister and ruthless aura. In a moment, several ideas appeared in his mind. Wasn't it easy to create a conflict? Just based on the fact that Chunhao had several super beauties who made him jealous, and they were all extremely talented, it would be easy to do. Moreover, besides this method, He had countless other ways to provoke a fight between Chun Hao and those demonic geniuses. In his opinion, this was a very simple matter. In fact, it was also a very simple matter, especially if the demonic geniuses of the limitless demon palace were involved. Phew! Soul Fighter let out a long sigh of relief, and the gloominess on his face was swept away. He looked at the four people around him and said, "Let's train with all our might. In these 3 months, I must reach the middle stage of the manifestation realm, or even the peak of the middle stage. All right, Junior Brother Soul Fighter, we will just sit at the edge and meditate. At our level, it is extremely difficult to advance. If we can't comprehend the barrier, it will be difficult for us to enter the ranks of the immortal supremes in this lifetime. We will not affect you." Soul Fighter nodded without any modesty. In the extremely dense spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and filled with endless laws of heaven and earth, he devoted himself to training. Strange, these four guys rushed all the way, but they were only a little slower than me. Could it be because of Chun Hao? Or could it be that Chun Hao had a conflict with their other teams? Moreover, they clearly had the opportunity to choose a better training ground. So why did they go straight to the edge? Although they have reached the peak of the late stage of the primordial soul realm and probably can't comprehend the barrier of the immortal supremes, they shouldn't be so impatient, choosing sesame seeds over a watermelon. Xiang Tianxiao looked at the four guys rushing into the palace as if their butts were on fire and was very puzzled. From their expressions, it seemed like they were fleeing for their lives. And in this place, the only one who had a conflict with them and dared to clash with them was Chun Hao, right? It seems that Chun Hao is really not simple. If he can break through to the manifestation realm during the Elite Academy's assessment next year, the Elite Academy will have another demonic genius and competitor. Interesting, Xiang Tianxiao shook his head and did not stay any longer. He released his perception and headed directly to the depths of the palace complex in the training ground. Here, breaking through was a test, and it was first come, first served. Whoever was faster would choose the more advanced and powerful palace. Those who were slower would not even be able to choose a palace and could only stay at the edge of the training ground for 3 months. Moreover, the palaces here were the same as in the city in the sky. Once someone entered, others could forget about entering, unless they had the other party's permission. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.